Hello and welcome to the Baka Gaijin show. I am your lovable rascal of a host, Siegfried, and with me, as always, is my incubus co-host, Kevin Faulkner.
Incubus?
It's like a
What?
male. It's like a male succubus.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably not accurate.
That's true. They, unlike you, have proper dental care.
I mean, among other things, but sure, if that's what you want to go with.
Fine. They have giant flaming wangs, but also teeth that don't make you throw up. What do you think is more important in an encounter, Kevin?
How am I supposed to answer this?
Self-depreciatingly? I don't know.
have no idea.
We're back, and we have a guest with us for the first time in a while. He's sitting in the dusty, mold-covered, neglected third chair, and that is TimeEnforcer Anubis, friend of the show.
Yes, indeed. What's up, folks?
They can't answer you. They're not here right now.
Yeah.
It's okay, but they care deeply about our lives as much as we care deeply about theirs. I don't know where I was going with that thought. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Today's going to be a more of a low-key, laid-back, chill episode because we're tired of marathoning things. just a little bit. I should move my mic a little closer. It's a little far away. I have it in super casual mode. I need to put it in quasi-professional mode.
To give you a bit of an idea, I was intending to start up on Demon Slayer a week and a half ago. Still haven't done it.
Yep.
Kind of enjoying just other things for a while.
Yeah. Like what, Kevin? What have you been doing lately?
Getting back into Hollow Knight, actually.
Oh, segue.
Yeah, I've gotten a few more hours into that one. I don't remember exactly where I am, but the enemies in that particular area are an absolute bitch. I think to get any further, I need the wall jump, so presently trying to find that.
Yeah, get I told you, beat the Mantis Lords.
Okay.
They're at the bottom of the Mantis Village.
Oh yeah. I'm near there, so yeah. Going the right way.
Yeah.
So yeah, currently making my way downtown, walking fast.
Yep. Oh man, I saw this dude. I don't know. He's the guy who like plays the piano in public. He had that big video where he played.
Oh yeah, him.
Giorno's theme, and then for like 100,000 subs or whatever, he tried to recreate the that music video, 1,000 miles, and like apparently it was like really hard because apparently the man doesn't want you carrying a piano in the back of a truck for some reason. Busybodies. But yeah, and it was actually just so funny trying to him coming up with these schemes to try to, like, at one point he was going to illegally enter a parade and pretend he was part of the congregation. But yeah.
Beginning of this month, I also bought some anime stuff. First time I've done that in a long time.
Yeah.
So there's this Japanese used goods import store called Mandarake.
Oh.
And I ordered the Gamers Limited Edition of the second Nanoha movie, and it is like a ridiculously extravagant release for just like one movie.
Yeah. I know I asked this on Twitter, but I need to reiterate for the podcast because it's just too good to pass up. Did the Gamers Edition come with an Afterglow controller and a bag of Doritos?
See, no, and it would be a problem if it would, because the phrase "used bag of Doritos" does not sound good.
I mean,
what it does come with,
you know.
Yeah, but what it does come with is it actually comes in this like massive cardboard box. It's like twice the size of the Blu-ray case itself.
Yeah.
And the Blu-ray case itself is like this really nice chipboard box. It comes with the movie itself on Blu-ray, a secondary Blu-ray that has like a bunch of special features, a third Blu-ray that has a Nanoha concert on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably going to watch that tomorrow or something. And for the stuff that doesn't, and it also comes with like both a booklet that's specifically for the a booklet that's like got a bunch of content from the concert that's on the disc,
Right.
as well as a separate like art book that has interviews with the cast and crew, as well as concept art, storyboards, and that sort of thing.
How do fictional characters put on a concert?
Their voice actors do that.
Okay,
It's the voice
right.
actors.
Okay, I thought it was like a Hatsune Miku 3D hologram situation.
Boy, that'd be great.
Remember when they brought Tupac back from the dead using that technology?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Yes, I do. Some people call that witchcraft.
I didn't know you were so scared of Tupac.
Some people are. Some people
I just
are.
think they should have
Not
brought
me.
Ricky back instead.
Yeah.
It also comes with a wall scroll that you can assemble yourself. It comes with a wall scroll that you can assemble. It comes with a little keychain of, if I remember correctly, I believe that's actually Vita's little plushie that Hayate gives her. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. And it also comes with... Fuck, I'm blanking right now. I would go and grab it and look at it right now, but I'm a little bit of a lazy bitch, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that.
I'm aware.
And I also ordered a couple of anime things from Kikaku Cat.
Oh.
So yeah, I bought a couple of things off of them. I got the 1970s Gatchaman series on Blu-ray, and the sub-only Blu-ray release of Nichijou.
Oh. Oh right. That finally got released a while ago.
Yeah, and they dubbed it after they realized, shit, people actually do want this show after all these years.
Yeah, I remember that used to be the joke of the show that would never come.
And yet, here we are.
I also learned on Twitter that they dubbed Hyoka, and I was unaware of this.
Yeah, I've heard the dub is fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's good.
I don't need it.
I definitely don't need it.
I mean, no, I mean, like, legitimately, I'm just like...
Yeah.
That's not the version I know and love. Back in
Yeah.
my day, they spoke Nihonjin, and we were fine with it. You know?
Yeah.
Back in the far-off year of 2011.
I also started up Doom 2016 again because I need to beat that before I play Doom Eternal.
Right.
I am on the last level of that. I think I'm on the last boss of that.
Oh, nice.
Is it a giant spider? Because the giant spider's the last one.
Okay, I'm not on the last boss then.
Okay.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I've died like 5 times. This has got to be the last fight. Apparently not. Apparently I'm not even close.
Sorry. It's a pretty for modern year shooter, pretty lengthy campaign actually.
It's a very impressive game. Like, they did a really good job. And I liked Doom 3.
Yeah. Oh, I did
But
too.
They did a really good job on Doom 2016. Like,
I should go back to Doom 3 at some point. I tried it on Switch before I got my Horror Split Pad Pro, not sponsored. And I just didn't like playing a shooter with those tiny, stupid, dusty sticks. But now with my big boy meat hook sticks, maybe it'll be better.
what kind of upsets me about Doom 3 is that I have the original. I think I still have the discs for like the original somewhere. But I got
the OG Xbox or like
no, the OG PC version.
okay.
But I got the BFG edition on Steam.
Yeah.
And they did the thing where the flashlight is now attached to your vest instead of holding.
Yep.
Instead of you hold the flashlight.
Yeah.
Which eliminates a core aspect of the game.
It does, but a lot of people found that really annoying. You have to switch between them. So like
I get
why.
it,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind the convenience. What annoys me is that like I had BFG Edition a long time ago and then I sold it and then I bought it again on PS3 and then immediately like the week after they ported it to Switch. I'm like, fuck you people. Why does this always happen? Every time.
And apparently Switch is like the best console version, so
yeah, it's better in the last gen versions. Crazily, it's crazy because Doom 3 used to like melt PCs, but like now it's like, yeah, now you can just play it on your dinky little Nintendo tablet. Yeah.
Your Wonder Slab.
When are they gonna come out with the Wonder Swan HD?
I'm never not going to call it the Wonder Slab.
I've never heard you call it that before in my life.
I've called it that a couple of times.
No, you have never called it. Don't act like this is a thing. Dude,
I've called it that to you like twice.
You have never said that. Those words, those
yes,
letters, those letters have never been spewed out of your mouth in that combination before.
You fucking have. With God as my witness.
I don't believe in your witness, and I need you to submit actual evidence to the court. Wouldn't that be so funny if you're in a fucking courtroom and they call a witness and you're just like, I don't believe that person exists. I'm like, damn, what do we do now? Fucking Chad Johnson over here doesn't believe in the witness.
So what have you been up to, Zeke? Just gonna throw it back at you now.
Yeah. Okay. I've been up to some various things. I've beaten some video games lately. But I have to cough off mic once future me edit that out. I probably won't. But yeah, so I beat a few games lately. I finally beat Call of War as Gunslinger on Switch.
Heard that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's more arcadey. I like it. It's a fun time. It's a decent length. It's got some nice set pieces. The constant narration by the main character that keeps changing his story as he's telling it, and like people will be like, you dang fool, that didn't happen that way. I read in the book it was like this, and then like the whole scene will like change to what they're talking about, and he's like, no, you've jogged my memory. Actually, it went down like, and then like it just changes again. That shit's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
Yeah, it's got the whole game is like a series of unreliable narrators arguing with each other, and that's a really cool thing to. It's a really cool way to design a game and a story, I guess. You know, and like the story is like a pastiche of Western cliches and stuff like that, but like it's got like really good voice acting, and I'll tell you a fun fact about the game that I would love to put on TV tropes. Is that God, what the fuck is it? Sam Riegel plays a young Dwight D. Eisenhower.
What?
And that's not a sentence I ever thought I'd have to say.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah.
But I'm strangely okay with it.
Yeah. I can't object to this. So I beat that. And then the other game I beat really quickly was and
I'm gonna mute, just keep talking.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. But I beat Coffee Talk really quickly. The other, not bartending, but like, you know what I'm talking. You serve drinks to people and they spew their problems at you. Another one of those. Yeah.
Cyberpunk bartending action.
Not so cyberpunk bartending action. Lo-fi coffee shop, urban fantasy bartending action without the bar.
Sorry, you lost me at lo-fi
Barista
coffee
action.
shop. That sounds very Tumblr.
It is. You know what? I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. It's pretty Tumblr, but it's not. It's not full retard Tumblr though. You know,
It's not
okay,
obnoxiously Tumblr.
yeah,
That's
it's
a
not.
big difference.
Yeah, it has the mild flavor of Tumblr, but like you're not drowning in Tumblr. Man, this is really a explain this to a caveman conversation, isn't it? Yeah. It's got mild hints of Tumblr, but yeah, it's pretty good. I like the small personal character stories, and I like the mood of the game, and I think it's got a nice presentation. Like it's got some good pixel art, and like you can pan the camera, and like there's like a street in the background of the windows, and you see like people moving along, like shadows of people, and like there's different. You know, like I feel like if we're gonna play the Valhalla comparison game, I would say it has a slightly stronger presentation if you like the aesthetic. You know, obviously like the cyberpunk counts for a lot, although I would have liked Valhalla if it leaned a little bit more into that. But that's obviously I don't like it as much as Valhalla because I don't think it has quite as strong an identity. But if you like games like that, I think Coffee Talk is all right. I beat it pretty quickly. I beat it in like 4 or 5 hours. It's it was a chill time, and like obviously like Valhalla has like an amazing soundtrack, and this is just like it's good lo-fi, but it doesn't like stand out. You know, it's just like it's like the kind of thing if you if you went to Spotify and like I would like some lo-fi please, and then it just like spat this out. That's what the soundtrack is. The only thing that stood out to me was a lo-fi remix of Claire de Lune, because that song haunts my fucking nightmares.
The ghost of Kaede Akamatsu continues to haunt you.
That's not even it. It's just like once you are aware of that melody, it's fucking everywhere. Like I remember watching a fucking Arcada video, and he's like, "Could people stop using Claire de Lune everywhere?" And I'm like, "Oh, they don't use it everywhere." And then like as soon as I like went back out into the world, I'm like, God damn, Claire de Lune is fucking everywhere. You know, I mean, I get it, but like, you know, you can't hide it from me just by making it a lo-fi rendition. I know Claire de Lune when I hear it.
That does remind me. Thank you. I need to put some Valhalla music on my phone so I can listen to it when I'm working and doing stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
we can all benefit from more of that soundtrack in our lives.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yep. If you stick to the end slate, you might even hear some. Because I use Showtime from that soundtrack for the end slate. Anyway, I beat something else recently. What the fuck was it? No, I talked about The Messenger last episode, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, I did. I tried to play Picnic Panic, but then I realized I forgot to obtain the unlock code. I downloaded the actual like patch, but I forgot to obtain the like the key, you know, like the file that's like, okay, they bought the thing, you know. Yeah, so that's why that didn't work for me. And the fucking shopkeeper's like, oh, you mean when it's ready? I'm like, it's ready now, it came out like 4 months ago. Yeah, so I was a big dum-dum. But I've been playing a new hotness though that just came out like yesterday, and that's a lovely little indie Metroidvania called Kunai. That it's taken me kind of by surprise in just how much fun I'm having with Kunai. It's got a really unique visual style. I don't even know how to describe it. The way I've been describing it, it's like Game Boy graphics, but like if they were good. You know what I mean? Like it's like that. It's got that kind of like muted. It's got like a combination of like muted pastel color palettes with like this with like I don't even know how to describe. It's like it's interesting though. If you want to look up some screenshots of something and tell me what the fuck they're going for here, I'd love to know. But like,
yeah, I'm looking at the preview right now, and yeah, that's about how I describe it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I really like it, and the music's really good too. But like what I really like about kunai is that it controls so well. It's got some fun movement options, and they because the titular kunai are basically like right and left grappling hooks that you swing on, but like the swinging feels really good. And then you get like you get a pair of SMGs later on, and if you're doing a jump, you can like fire at the ground and like glide a bit to make bigger jumps.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and like, yeah, just like games with great movement and like mobility. Those are king, you know.
That's why I love Titanfall 2 so much.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Like, it's basically the perfect, maybe not perfect, but it's a good cross between the kind of movement you'd see in something like Halo or Call of Duty and old school Quake and Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
You had me at old school Quake.
Old me.
Yeah. If you want fast jumping around and shit, Titanfall 2 is basically the best you're gonna get in modern gaming.
Fucking shit, I guess I gotta play Titanfall too.
It's really nice. Even
Well,
if you're
if
just
only-
playing the single player, it's really nice. But see if you can get it for cheaper than normal price. Because
Yeah, it's on
just
like
played it
deep
for
sale on PSN all the time. I got the Ultimate Edition for like $5.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's super cheap a lot of the time.
like it's an FPS with platforming elements,
Yeah,
like heavy platforming elements.
yeah. The very first thing they have you do is like a time trial platforming, like kill all the guys gauntlet.
Yep.
And like people actually like speedrun that. You know, they're just, you know, it's really hard. I found it hard to even get like the top spot on like their preset like times.
Yeah, it's
Pretty hard.
It's not very easy.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
You
it.
you say like first person shooter platforming and stuff, and I'm thinking like a fucking jacked up version of Duke Nukem 3D. And I'm a big fan of Duke Nukem 3D. So
Man, I'm just imagining Duke Nukem wall running, and that's such a bizarre sight. Doesn't quite work in my mind.
No.
no.
Speaking of old school shooters, though, I finally got one of the holy trinity of rare PS3 titles, and that is a copy of Painkiller: Hell and Damnation, which is the remake of the original Painkiller that they did in like 2013. It doesn't have every level from Painkiller, but it's almost like a greatest hits remake where they took like a lot of the really well liked levels and remade them.
Yeah.
I play a little bit of that. It's fun. The problem I'm having is that this third-party controller I got, it's really good for the most part, but I've noticed with shooters in particular, I don't like how big the dead zones are. They're just a little bit too big for like precision and they're fine for like 3D action games or like, you know, platformers and shit like that where you're just controlling a camera. But like when you need to do something really precise, it's not as good as I thought it would be, which is a real shame because I really like this controller otherwise. So I might have to go back to like the DS3 for that. But yeah, I haven't gotten super far into that yet. And then today, I haven't got it yet, but today, an older puzzle game, 3D puzzle game came out on Switch, the Turing Test. I want to try that out.
Yeah, one game that I do plan on getting on Switch next is Super Hot.
I think you mean Super Hot.
Super
Hot.
Hot.
Super
Yeah.
Hot. You know, I've heard that Super Hot is one of the most innovative shooters in years.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I never actually finished Super Hot. I'm in one of those awkward situations of Super Hot where I got so close to the end and then I just got distracted by other things.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
And I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to go back because I'm like, oh yay, I do 2 levels and then I win. And it's like, oh.
I've played like 3 or 4 versions of the demo of Super Hot, but never actually played the actual game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'd say get it for cheap because it's pretty short. But,
yeah, like the regular price for it is $25, and I'm waiting for it to go down to like 10 or 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it for free, but I ain't telling how.
Yeah, it's on Switch, so like I'm willing to bet it'll go on sale relatively soon because it's been out on Switch for a while, and with Switch, like once a game's been out for like 6 months, it tends to start going on sale for like 30 to 40% off.
Do you still have a cold?
A little bit.
Okay.
I've got some minor.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
I've got some minor sinus issues.
Right.
It's not too big of a deal.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I can hear it slightly.
Yeah.
I can also hear a cat. Does the cat have a cold?
No, but the cat is an asshole.
Okay. I mean, if there's anything I learned from, fuck, what are those movies called? You know what I'm talking? You know, the fucking live action. Is it just cats versus dogs? Is that what it is? That's what it is, isn't it?
It may or may not be cats versus dogs.
I think it might be. No. Yes. Right.
The Revenge of Kitty Galore.
No, what I mean, like the evil cat. His name was Snowball. He belonged to this like old lady. Yeah. The climax takes place in a fucking Christmas tree factory. As you do.
Man, we accepted a lot of weird shit as kids.
I don't hate that movie.
No.
It's not great, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. So what you been up to, Anubis?
My most recent obsession has been going back into Ace Combat 7 because I downloaded this mod that puts Idolmaster girls on all the airplanes.
Nice.
So like every Idolmaster girl has a different airplane. So I've been going through the campaign of that again for like the 6th or 7th time, maybe.
Reminds me of when I got back into Left 4 Dead 2 because I discovered the K-On mod.
Flying through, repping Iori Minase. Oh my god, those kids.
Yeah, it's been that. I've been playing a little bit of Elite Dangerous.
Yeah. Do you have do you do Elite Dangerous in VR or no?
I would if I had VR.
Yeah, because I've heard that's really awesome in VR.
Yeah. I've heard that's one of the best games for VR right now.
Yeah, I watched like a in-depth review of Elite Dangerous, and I didn't know it looked as awesome as it does. With the cockpit and all that. It just looks so immersive.
It looks really nice. Like, even without VR.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful looking game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing that. A little bit of Halo every now and again. A lot of Minecraft. I've been hitting up Minecraft pretty hard.
What you building?
Well, I started out on this. I got a really good start, actually. I started out on this island.
Yeah.
And around me there are 1, 2, 3, 4... upwards of 6 shipwrecks.
Oh,
damn.
And then, like, go north, there's a village. Go east, there's a raider camp. So I got a really nice start. So I've been building up this island, deforesting it, trying to level out the terrain, building farms.
Nice. You one of those guys that like mods the shit out of Minecraft, or are you a vanilla person?
No, I'm a vanilla guy.
Yeah.
It's okay. The taste of vanilla is a classic flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Minecraft is like I'm extremely casual when playing Minecraft, but like I'll mostly just boot up survival mode and just kind of do whatever.
I'm so casual with Minecraft, I still play the Vita version.
Ooh.
Which actually runs good if you max overclock.
I'm so casual I play Minecraft on my goddamn phone.
I'm so casual I play Minecraft on my Samsung LED fridge!
Actually, that's pretty hardcore. Yeah, Minecraft is actually one of those games that surprisingly works well for phones.
Yeah. Did you see, it was making the rounds on reddit.com. Did you see that somebody managed to port Doom to their fucking, like, their store's, like code scanner machine? How do you even begin to do that?
That is a really good question. What the fuck?
Why does this fucking thing that exists to scan barcodes have enough power to run Doom? I don't get it.
Doom used to be like really fucking demanding back in goddamn 1993. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading about all the different console ports and how most of them suck.
Yeah.
But like they all suck. They all suck in like unique, interesting ways, and there's unique, interesting reasons why they turned out that way. Makes it fun to read about.
yeah, like 3DO, SNES, and 32X are all bad in different ways, like uniquely.
All right, sorry for that that interruption. Craig decided to bail. I guess it was his lunch hour. I don't know. What I was about to say, and I don't know how far we got, but I was gonna say, I'll try to make it make sense in editing. That I still can't believe at the time the best console port of Doom was the Jaguar port.
Yeah, and that's only because John Carmack worked on that one.
Yeah.
So that was a completely in-house id Software port, so...
So we know the Jaguar has at least 2 good games.
Yes, that's exactly right. Finally, I have acquired an Atari Jaguar. I've got my copy of Tempest and my copy of Doom, and I have completed the Jaguar library as far as my phone is concerned. Yeah, the only thing that sucks about the Jaguar port is they took out all the music, but other than that, it's actually pretty good.
So much so that like
let's be fair. The other thing that sucks about the Jaguar port is that you have to play it on that god awful controller.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey
That's
kids,
true.
you want to play Doom on a phone pad?
You were just talking about how it's good on a phone.
A touchscreen, you fuck!
Oh, excuse. I thought you still had a BlackBerry. I'm sorry.
Dude, I'm not that ghetto. Please, give me a little bit of respect.
I just got a new phone today, and I was looking through all their options, and I'm like, they have some like people. There are companies, not the big companies, but there are companies that still make like flip phones, and I was looking at the plans for those, and there are some really cheap plans for those. I think the cheapest flip phone plan I saw was like $4 a month, and I'm like, that's somebody's taking advantage of that. And then I saw a really bulky flip phone that looked kind of appealing to me for like $10 a month.
Ooh.
Yeah. But instead I just got the little rinky dink Galaxy S10. You know. Not as cool.
Dude, I think you could play Fortnite on that.
I'm not going to.
Of course.
But it's good knowing I can. The most exciting thing for me is honestly that I have a version of Android that's high enough to get dark mode on Gmail now. For some reason they locked that off to like 8.0 and above or some shit, or like 9 or 10. I don't know. Fucking. But my old S7, which I still have, they let me keep it. So yay, backup phone. But I think it only has like Android 6.9 or something on it.
Oof.
Yeah, it's old, and I love when you get a new phone. All the people at the counter are always like, "You're old. You got an old phone. How old is that?
Yeah.
Do you even live in the world?"
Yeah, like when I went to upgrade my old phone, which mind you was like a fucking 2012 Galaxy Light, fucking 3-inch motherfucking little dinky ass phone.
Yeah.
Like I went up to the Metro, like my provider is Metro PCS, so I went up to the Metro store and I'm like, hey, can I exchange for a new phone? And this guy took one look at my phone and was like, holy shit, how have you not upgraded yet? Like he was like legitimately shocked I hadn't upgraded in like
This thing is
5
so
years.
ancient, I don't even have a cable for it.
So yeah, he was like, you know what? Because this phone is so old and you've gone so long with this particular phone, you get half off any phone in the store.
Please buy something, I beg you.
Please, for the love of God.
See, one thing I don't like is that on the S10, they don't have the tactile buttons at the bottom anymore. They've replaced it with like touchscreen buttons. So the screen is like extra tall. So like getting the right resolution for anything is probably going to be a pain in the future. Let me see, actually, what is the resolution on this thing? The resolution of this screen is 2280 by 1080.
It's like, that's like a ultra wide 1080p. Huh.
Yeah, I have an ultra wide in a phone.
Nice.
It's interesting.
It's actually really impressive.
Is it? They just took a phone and made it wider, Kevin, or taller, or I don't know. It depends on your perspective, really. If I hold it sideways, it's wider. If I hold
landscape mode,
but in portrait mode, it's taller. This is the kind of quality conversation people tune in for. But I was also going to say I've watched some films lately.
Oh yeah, what'd you watch?
I watched Venom, and I liked it, and that makes me sad because that's years of future arguments. I can't escape it with Spidey. Or anything tangentially Spider-Man related. I'm a man of hot takes. And it's mostly because I like too many of the wrong things, you know. But there's like it sucks when you're the only guy that hates something. Somehow it sucks even more when you're the only person that likes things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically me for my whole life with Sega versus Nintendo.
I can imagine.
Sorry, dude. Who makes consoles still?
Sorry, dude. Okay, listen. You want to fight this battle? Because I'll fight this battle with you right now.
I'm joking. Holy shit.
Fight.
Oh my god. Fucking Anubis over here ready to square up against this fucking...
We're to throw down. We're to throw down the console war like it's 1994.
Man, we're so close to having another episode 17, and that just would have made my day.
Still fighting the mid-90s console war like I'm one of those Japanese dudes who kept holding the island, didn't know the war was over.
Yeah. Still waiting for that carrier pigeon. Yeah. What's the other thing I watched? I watched another film recently. What the fuck was it? Oh yeah, I watched like 2 days ago. I watched Zombieland Double Tap. That was pretty good. It doesn't feel like it's been 10 years, and that doesn't like I don't know. That doesn't sound. I don't know what that sounds like to people, but like it definitely does feel like it's the same people meeting up again, and like let's just make another one of these fucking things, you know? And like you slip right back into it.
I think for a lot of movies with like sequels that are that far removed from the original, that's probably the best case scenario you can hope for, is just that it feels like, it never left. That sort of thing.
Yeah. I didn't know I needed more Tallahassee in my life, but I do.
And now you have it.
And now I got it. Woody Harrelson was also at the end of Venom teasing Carnage, and they got him in a really stupid looking fake ginger wig. It's really funny. Speaking of like long distance sequels, once again I have rented, and I will try to actually watch it this time and not let it run out, is Blade Runner 2049, which actually I rented before and then I just forgot to watch it.
Thank you. I need to watch that.
Yeah. Is Black Lotus a Toonami thing?
The upcoming anime? Yeah, that's a Toonami Crunchyroll like co-pro.
Oh, so is it gonna be on Crunchyroll?
I think so. I think they're gonna stream the subtitled version like shortly after the dub version broadcasts.
Oh, okay. Because that could be pretty cool. We don't get a lot of like really good cyberpunk anime.
That's true.
Yeah. We get some good Diesel Punk. No Gun's Life is pretty good.
Yeah, like my current slate of anime to marathon is in order: Demon Slayer, Fire Force, and then No Gun's Life.
Yeah, I'd wait on New Gun's Life because the second half's airing in spring.
Ooh.
Also airing in spring. I thought it was actually going to take longer, but Tower of God is airing in spring, and I'm looking forward to seeing. Yeah, that's like the One Piece of Korean webtoons.
Right, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that because it's like, if it's a big success, that could lead to a lot of Korean stuff being animated, which diversity in the medium is nice.
Yeah, you mentioned One Piece, and the live action series is actually happening.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh wow.
All of its 10 episodes. What the fuck are they going to cover in 10 episodes?
I mean, I guess you can get all the way up to like hour-long Park if it's hour-long episodes. Like,
it might not be. If it's not, you might get all the way up to Bugsy.
Buggy. It's Buggy.
I don't care.
Clearly. Yeah, but like, the thing is, here's the thing, like, unlike a lot of other recent anime adaptations to live action, like, Death Note and Ghost in the Shell or whatever, Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, is actually directly involved in this one. He's on the staff as an executive producer, and I'm not talking like Akira Toriyama style Dragon Ball Evolution executive producer, where it's like, hey, could you change this? Fuck no. Like, he actually does have veto rights over the series. So like, but the thing is, like, my problem with One Piece being adapted into a live action show is that it's One Piece specifically being adapted into live action. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, One Piece is just too goddamn cartoony
Yeah.
and exaggerated, and I think trying to bring that into live action misses a very large part of the core appeal of the franchise.
I'm gonna make a prediction. This live action One Piece series is gonna look eerily similar to live action Cat in the Hat.
Oh no.
Yep. This is going to look exactly like early 2000s Dr. Seuss adaptations. I'm calling it now.
Oh god, no. Like, here's the thing, like, even
Or
if
like Lazy Town with a higher budget.
even if it does turn out quote unquote good, it's not going to be One Piece. Like, that's just kind of the thing. It's just not going to feel like the material that it's adapting. But you're better off just watching the anime or reading the manga.
But Kevin, what is One Piece?
What?
What is One Piece?
Well, here's a story we're gonna find out about a boy who...
Not what I was going for, but it works. Yeah. The other thing I run in was John Wick Chapter 2, which I haven't seen yet. I'm really disappointed. I heard the John Wick game sucks.
Oh, damn.
That's disappointing. Apparently it's got like... It's like glitched out animations, the game or something.
Wow.
The one thing I know about John Wick Chapter 2, is there's apparently a gunfight that takes place in the dark in that movie, and okay. Thank you, sister, for letting me know that dinner's ready and interrupting me. Thank you. You guys still there?
Proceed.
Yes.
Okay. My bad. Anyway, fuck was that? Oh yeah, Corridor does like these. They try to fix the bad CG in certain movies. Like, they actually tried to fix the fucking Scorpion King CG for The Rock in The Mummy 2, which is an amazing video. Go watch that. But one of the things that they did was that they redid all of the muzzle flash effects and gun sound effects.
Yeah.
For one of the for one of the gunfights in John Wick 2 because they were like, everything is just slightly off and we don't like it.
I like how that is the absolute state of Hollywood. We've rushed our CG so much. We need to have companies that specifically specialize in fixing it.
Oh my god. Corridor is a great channel because they do a bunch of their own like special effects experiment videos. Like they got one video that has them I think doing like a parody of a NASA robot video where the NASA robot gets bullied so much that it gains sentience. And there's another one where they actually deep fake one of their friends to look like Keanu Reeves. They're actually really good at what they do. I actually did talk about them in the last episode.
Oh yeah, or was it the one before? I forget. No, it might have been the last one. I don't know. One of those.
It might have been
one of those fucking episodes. Yeah. That reminds me though. That thing about the robots. That reminds me. Did you see the DreamWorks short that was included with Abominable?
I did.
Yeah, the robots on the moon. That was cute.
It was adorable. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's like you expect it to kind of like rip your heart out at the end, but then it kind of ends in a like. It's not as bad as you think it's going to end up.
Yeah, it ends in a daw.
Yeah, it's like, oh, my heart. I loved it.
Yeah. I didn't know they did shorts, but they do shorts now.
Yeah, very, very Disney of them.
Yeah, very. I like to see Katzenberg tell me how that's not the case.
We're the anti-Disney.
Okay, if they were the anti-Disney, this robot sure would have ended very differently. And it might have been better for it? I don't know. Speaking of the whole anti-Disney thing, you should I don't know if you've checked out Sideways' video on Shrek's music. That's a really great demonstration of how that film is deliberately anti-Disney, but it works so well.
I haven't actually, but I do like the film music, what's the word I'm looking for? Analysis videos that Sideways does. Like his Spider-Verse video I really like.
Yeah. I like his channel banner. Music sucks, said nobody ever. He's got a point.
Like it or not, he's spitting some straight facts.
Yep. So that's what we've been up to lately. I think that'll do it for our first segment.
All right.
Unless anyone has anything to add.
You got anything to add, Anubis?
I'm all set.
All right. We will see you guys in the next segment. Stay tuned to the Baka Gaijin. And welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show, the chillest podcast on the internet. We're so chilly, we're legitimately concerned we may run out of cheese.
Scandal.
That didn't make sense.
No,
But, you know.
No, you have to well balance your chili and your cheese.
You get it. You
See,
get
here's
it.
what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You put down a layer of chili.
Yes.
Then you put a layer of cheese on top of that.
Oh my god, yes.
Then you put another layer of chili.
Yeah.
Then another layer of cheese. And you keep doing that until you fill the bowl.
That's what
then
I do.
You mix it all up.
That's what I do, except I also have Frito-Lays.
this guy understands good fucking cuisine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Oh, you've never had chili with Frito-Lays?
No.
Dude, it's
Oh,
the
dude.
best.
Dude. It's like
This man has not lived yet.
it's like
I
fucking
usually just layer chili, a layer of cheese, layer of chili, a layer of cheese, and just repeat that until the bowl's filled.
I mean, you can do that, but also add a few layers of Frito-Lays for that crunchy corn texture, corn-like texture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to get on that.
It's like a fucking gangbang in your mouth. But without the negative implications of rape, of course. It's a consensual gangbang in your mouth. Welcome back to the show. This is what you signed up for. So we're gonna shoot the shit, and I have a few like general pointers I got from Reddit just to steer us in some directions. But like generally, if we get on a tangent, that's okay. This is old school Baka Gaijin show where we literally don't give a fuck, and that's how you like it. So one thing, I guess to start us off, is that I was talking about this with someone on Twitter. It might have been Shinden. I don't remember. Why don't people respect the term gamer?
Yeah, because something that I see a lot very often is, people trying to dog on a group of people and they just generalize it as the gamers.
Yeah,
Like the gamers have this opinion and whatever the fuck.
I don't mean to sound like a gamer, but I feel like it's almost become a derogatory term, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it either, because, like, if you play games consistently and gaming is your hobby, are you not yourself a gamer?
Well, here's what I argued on Twitter, is that I said, I think part of it is that there's a layer of self-seriousness to the term gamer that is not present in other mediums. And I think it's because you are putting the name of the medium into an identifying label. Like, if you watch films, you're not a filmer. If you read books, you're not a booker. You just say, "Oh, I read books," or "Oh, I watch movies." But with gaming, you call yourself a gamer. You make it an identifying phrase, and I feel like to some people that puts on an air of, I guess, self-seriousness. But my question then is, what is wrong with taking what you love seriously?
True. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that, because it just means, it's something that just you use to identify yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, most of what I see people denigrating the term gamer coming from is they identify a particular set of qualities to the term gamer that are negative.
Yeah.
To like the quote unquote gaming community that are negative.
Yeah.
Such that they don't want to identify as gamers because they think that gamers are bad.
Yeah.
Where they might play video games themselves. They might engage in a lot of the exact same activities, but because they associate just the term gamer with this toxic sort of person that they've imagined in their heads. Yeah. Gamer is now an insult that they use against people.
Yeah. And like fuck. But what was I gonna say? What I really hate about this entire thing though is that they have created this narrative where you can't argue in favor of it anymore, without proving their point. They've created this like cyclical argument around the identification of a gamer that like any attempt to debate the legitimacy of the term gets warped back around to proving their point about the people they're derogating against. I don't even know.
Isn't that just a form of confirmation bias?
Yeah, you could say that. Some would say that. Smart people.
I see this as an extension of another paradigm that I've seen for quite a while, where if you in any way identify yourself or identify any element of yourself via your hobbies, then that's a red flag to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if you identify it, so if I were to say I'm an anime fan, then that to some people is identifying too closely with my hobbies, and that's gonna be a problem, because to them, what that means is I'm gonna see any slight against what I do or any element of what I do as a slight against myself, and I'm gonna lash out at people over that.
Which seems hypocritical considering the kinds of people that do these things.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But it's all an excuse to lash out at people.
Yeah. But like, you know, but it's like, I hate how selective this mindset goes. You know, if somebody is an avid fisherman and they call themselves a fisherman, nobody's like, oh, so that's your identity. You fish. You know, it's like
you're one of those people.
Toxic fisherman.
Nobody says that about fishermen. What the fuck?
Yeah. Or
it seems to be exclusively nerd culture stuff.
Yeah, it pisses me off when people are like, oh, nerd culture is becoming so much more mainstream and accepted now. I'm like, then why can't I call myself a gamer without 50 people in the replies getting on my case for it? You know? Assuming I was actually popular.
I'm still on the idea that nerd culture is largely a made-up paradigm, that most of what we consider nerd culture is mainstream culture that used to be niche.
See, what I would argue personally is when people argue that, you know, nerd culture is becoming mainstream, they're talking about the kind of nerd culture that is so homogenized and removed from deeper meanings of, you know, where the culture actually originated from, that honest to God, it doesn't really, like, honest to God, it can really appeal to anyone, and that's not really the point of what quote unquote nerd culture should be.
Yeah.
It's that it can appeal to anyone, but it doesn't have to appeal to everyone. And it kind of comes from this Crunchyroll made this fucking tweet a few weeks back where they just kind of made this generalized statement of anime is for everyone, and you know, Anubis over here made a great rebuttal article about that. And it kind of feeds into this.
Check it out at Iyashike, is it?
Iyashike.moe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Absolutely. And it kind of feeds into that whole paradigm of, you know, we accept nerd culture, but only to a very skin deep extent.
Yeah. I was going to joke earlier, this is exactly the point of the conversation. If VZ was here, he'd start ranting about pop vinyls.
Well, it's like they take the fact that some formerly niche nerd elements of nerd culture are now mainstream, and what upsets me about it is they try to portray that as nerd culture in general being mainstream.
It really isn't.
Sure, gaming has hit the mainstream. I can go out and talk to random people, and there's a good chance they might have played the newest Call of Duty. But if I try to talk to them about X3 Terran conflict, they're gonna look at me like I have 3 heads.
Yep. Yep.
So
absolutely,
it's a greater level of erasure for the people with more niche interests than the past paradigm of nerd culture, of quote unquote nerd culture, nerd stuff, just being nerd stuff and just being pushed to the sidelines. Because like at least you have a space then.
Yeah.
When you get people say a nerd culture is mainstream, then only the mainstream accepted elements of nerd culture exists, and other stuff just might as well not even exist.
Yeah. I also feel like people attribute success of a subculture to the economics of that subculture, but I feel like that's kind of a false dichotomy, because like when you're only factoring in the economics of something, you're going like it's defined by the extremities, you know. It's defined by the Call of Duties that sell or at least used to sell abnormally well for the market, you know, and don't actually indicate the level of success and notoriety that most things in that field get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And even if we were to even just keep it on an economic standpoint, once that stuff starts to get the kind of massive mainstream success, the industry starts to move in that direction, and a lot of the stuff in the middle, the stuff that's between the big AAA Call of Duty level stuff and the smaller indie stuff, a lot of the stuff in the middle starts to get crowded out.
Oh, I know. That's one of my big complaints about this past generation, is that so many like mid-tier companies that made like really interesting things because they had enough money and resources to flesh out a vision, but they didn't have so much overbearing corporate control on them that dictated what that vision had to be. So in like the 6th and 7th generations, you got a lot of really interesting things in that middle zone. But the further we've gone along, that mid-tier zone has just been shrinking and shrinking. Now, to be fair, that's also That's also happened along the same time as the explosion of the indie market. That's kind of taken up that gap.
Kind of.
Yeah. Like yes. Kind of. That's the best way to describe it.
To me, the indie space is only just starting to move into that middle zone.
Yeah.
Because for a very long time, we've only been able to see, not that we've only able to see, but the indie sector has not fully filled out all of the vacancies left by so a lot of the genres that have fallen by the wayside.
I agree. They're rising, they're getting up there, but what we're seeing at this point, I think, is like now there's like tiers of indie titles in terms of the resources they had available to them and what the ambition of those titles, and even the highest levels have not quite reached where those mid-tier companies used to be, but they're getting there.
They're definitely getting there.
Yeah. So yeah, I do. That's why I'm getting back into PS3 collecting, because I miss those kinds of mid-tier experiences that we don't get anymore.
Yeah. Like every now and then, like an Outer Worlds comes out, but you know it's very few and far between.
Yeah, and even then, Outer Worlds, there's a lot to say about that game in the fact that it was clearly, very clearly, when you actually play it, and especially when you get far enough into it, it really becomes clear that it is a mid-tier game trying to be a AAA game, like really hard, trying to have that kind of scale and scope, but it just doesn't quite have the resources to do it. And it's to the point where I almost wish they went smaller with certain aspects so that they could go deeper with others. There's a lot to say about that game in terms of where it wants to be and where it is.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that also speaks to the shrinking of the mid-tier market, because Obsidian is a mid-tier developer by all accounts, but because of how much notoriety they have, they've kind of been thrust into this position where people expect bigger things from them than they are sometimes capable of delivering.
Yeah,
which is an interesting place to be in. You know, I feel
one thing I find interesting, and just as an observation of the fact that the indie scene is starting to move in.
Yeah.
Back during like the PS2 era, like late PlayStation into the PS2 era.
Yeah.
There were a lot of basically also ran Ace Combat clones. So you had Air Force Delta on the Dreamcast, you had Lethal Skies, you had Rebel Raiders, all of these arcade flight combat games, all of which were dead by the end of the PS2 era, except for Ace Combat.
Remember Crimson Skies on Xbox?
Crimson Skies on the Xbox, I put a lot of hours into that.
Yeah.
But all of which were dead by the end of that era.
Yeah.
And now we're just starting to get, not only did we get Ace Combat 7 last year, but we're getting Project Wingman as an indie. We got Sky Rogue came out, I think a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And quite a few others.
Yeah.
So we're just starting to see some of these genres start to get filled out again by the indie scene. Yeah,
another example of that is for a long time there just weren't any indie first-person shooters. That wasn't a thing. You know, that was not a genre they really touched, but now we're seeing stuff like Aeon and Ion Fury and Dusk and all that shit. I'm waiting to come to Switch, but you know, like they're starting to tap into those genres that they weren't tapping into previously. Now, to be fair, most of them are really, really, really good Quake mods, but
to be fair, most big FPSs, if you boil it down, are really, really, really good Quake mods.
Cough, Unreal Tournament.
That is a
no, that's the one that isn't a really, really good Quake mod. But like, I'm pretty sure like Call of Duty for the longest time was based off of a heavily modified Quake engine.
Yeah,
might have been.
I mean, yeah, okay, there is that. But I mean, like, literally using dark places. You know what I mean?
Like,
slight difference.
I can't remember. What was it? Counter-Strike or Team Fortress that was originally on like one of those old ass engines?
Both.
So
both. Yeah. Oh fuck.
I think both were on Gold Sark, weren't they?
Fuck if I know.
Okay.
I was talking to Anubis.
Oh.
Team Fortress was originally Quake. Started out as Mega TF. Right. That was a Quake mod. Then into Team Fortress Classic, which was off the Half-Life engine.
Yeah.
Right.
And that engine, I think, is Gold Sark.
Yes, I believe so. I believe Counter-Strike started off on the Half-Life engine.
See, I knew with Team Fortress...
100% sure.
Yeah. See, I knew with Team Fortress that the Quake engine was in there somewhere. I just forgot where.
Oh, the Quake engine is everywhere if you really want to look for it.
Oh, I bet it is.
I'm really not lying when I say pretty much every FPS is a modified Quake engine.
Yeah. I've learned more about the iterations of the Quake engine because a lot of that shit is being homebrew ported to Vita now. So I'm in chat rooms with people that are doing that, and I don't understand much of it, but I'm picking up terms, you know. Like apparently the one guy who's behind a lot of homebrew projects, Rene, he really fucking hates the Educ 32. It's just so hard to work with apparently, which is what Ion Fury was coded in. That comes from Duke Nukem 3D, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget, man. And now I'm remembering a channel I used to follow, and I don't remember them anymore. And I wish I did, because they did some interesting breakdowns about how those old engines worked. and like shit like the 3D is not actually 3D, like, you know, that kind of shit.
Right.
Where they're like, if you see a building, it's actually like an inverted texture that wraps around the blah blah. So, you know, fascinating shit like that. It's like there's no 3D, it's just all smoke and mirrors. God, what was that channel? I do not remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't expect you to. Why? Why didn't I tap the bell icon to be notified of all upcoming new videos? Why? Spare yourself this fate and tap the bell icon now.
Don't let your viewing habits be controlled by the algorithm.
Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single video.
Sponsored by Red Shadow Legends.
Seamless. We did it, boys. Society exists. I don't know where I'm going with this. Where'd my phone go? I have things.
Please.
Yep. There was a thread recently where somebody was a very adamant supporter of VR was wondering why people have not adopted it en masse, and giving a lot of various reasons as to that. And number one reason I gave is because I don't have space for it.
Yeah, the main thing with me personally is that I would love to have a VR setup and headset. Is that like the problem is twofold. First, space. You need a large open area to for VR to work properly with most headsets. Second is price. VR is fucking expensive, dude. Like, the thing is, like, your basic VR headset is like $150 to $250.
Yeah.
And they used to be more expensive, mind you, like in the $600 range.
Yeah.
So like, assume like the VR headset is only really a peripheral. It has to interface with an actual console. So assume you need a VR ready PC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to drop down money for like, at the very least, like a GTX 1660 or whatever, a 6-core processor, like 8 to 16 gigs of RAM. Like, you got to put down like $800 for a decent ass computer that's like VR ready.
Yeah.
And assume you're going with like, you know, PlayStation VR. A PS4 is like $250 on a good day. So
200 during those Black Friday sales, but you didn't hear that from me.
Yeah. But like, the problem really is that it's a peripheral, but it's a peripheral that is equally or comparatively expensive as the console that you need to use it.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with me, because it's like, okay, I could get into VR, but I could also just play video games normally for a lot less money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my main issue is the cost. I don't foresee myself doing a lot of standing up and walking around VR. Most of the VR I foresee myself doing is sitting in this chair with this exact chair with this exact flight stick and throttle in front of me, flying a spaceship or an airplane, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
I wrote in this thread. I also said I wear glasses, and every set I've tried is just either uncomfortable or causes my glasses to fog up, and that's an issue for a lot of people. Is they wear glasses.
I will admit that flight sims and other adjacent simulation-based media are a really good fit for VR.
That's basically the only thing I want VR for.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I was talking about, is that like I'm not really interested in the concept because I've never had a problem getting immersed in a game before. It's just kind of it's expensive and it's unnecessary, and I don't have the space for it.
Like the immersion with video games for me already comes from the fact that I'm directly controlling the experience.
Yeah.
So I really don't need the extra, 360-degree visual, whatever the fuck. Like, it's not really necessary for me.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, like, it controls so differently that like it becomes anti-immersive for me in a way where like
Yeah.
I have to relearn how to do game, you know. And for some people that's exciting, but for me it's kind of like that's a barrier to my immersion, not an asset to it.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, because like me having played video games for like fucking 20 years at this point, I've kind of gotten used to how video games play. And VR is just kind of like relearning everything, and I'm not really interested in that.
Yep.
See, it's something that would depend on the game for me, because something like DCS World, which is flight simulator, controls laid out all over the keyboard. So somehow I'm going to have to navigate that with a VR headset, so I can't see the keyboard. I can only look down and see like my legs in the plane. That's number one. But
you got to learn Braille. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, somehow. But it's like, for something like, so I tried out Ace Combat 7 on PSVR, and I took to that pretty quickly. And it was a great experience, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see some where there would be interface obstacles with something more on PC based, like Elite Dangerous or DCS World.
Yeah. It's also just like, even if VR gets its exclusive killer apps, it's kind of like this sounds like this is gonna sound very old man yells at clouds for me, but I don't like how it conflicts so heavily with the way we as a culture share the experience of game. Because like I've seen VR Let's Plays and they just don't like, they're weird, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Even when they're recording the screen, it's like there's some, I don't know. It's like you can't. That's part of the reason why VR has had a hard time getting adopted, is because you can't just show it to people without them actually doing it.
Right.
So that's one reason. But like, I don't know. It's one of like, it's expensive. I'd rather put that money elsewhere. I'd rather get a TV with actual HDR or some shit. You know, I'd rather improve the experience I already have than try to learn a whole new one that, frankly, at the moment isn't getting. I mean, it's getting support, but it's not getting like all of this, you know, like all the support. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. I see it as like 2 or 3 steps better than motion controls, like back when the Wii was big.
Yeah.
Motion controls are basically an evolutionary dead end for gaming.
I don't agree, because it has been toned down to a very useful degree now with things like gyro aim.
Okay. Let me walk that back.
Okay.
Motion controls in the manner that the Wii did them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree
is an
there.
evolutionary dead end for gaming.
Yeah.
Whereas you can do things with VR because it's not trying to replace anything.
Yeah, my thing with motion controls with the Wii is that I don't know, it was ultimately a lot more limiting than I think Nintendo really anticipated it would be in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
Motion control works best when it's in support of traditional controls, in my opinion, and that's ultimately where gyro aiming comes in.
Yeah.
Because you can use the gyro aiming to like fine tune, you know, like if you're playing a first person shooter, you can fine tune your shots, like on the fly.
Yeah. Which is scientifically more accurate than a stick. Let's not get into that conversation. But there are people that are just like vividly like anti-statistics. They're just like, no, the stick is better because that's what I'm used to, and I can pop 360 no scopes with the fucking 360 stick, so it has to be the bestest.
Sweeping headshots. People who have never played a game of Quake or Unreal Tournament in their life.
Mm-hmm. How's that? Yeah, I'm so impressed by your console aim assist. I really am.
See, here's the thing. Like, my thing is that like I won't deny that gyro aiming is probably a lot more accurate and better than just traditional stick aiming, but I'm used to traditional stick aiming.
So no, dude. I'm the same. I don't even I like gyro aim even less than you do. But like, I'm not gonna argue with science.
Listen, I'm the guy who uses a controller on PC Apex Legends and Halo Master Chief. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that's good. I'm not gonna try and prove to you that that's gonna be better than the mouse and keyboard, because realistically, if I feel like I need to, I'll just put the computer down, put the controller down, and switch to the mouse and keyboard. But I don't care.
But some people are so insecure about the skill they don't have that they will argue to the death about this.
Yes. By the way, I'm probably better than most people with a mouse and keyboard when I'm using a controller in Halo. Anyway.
Yeah. He's in a weighted gi and he still kicked your ass. So there you go. Why do I keep putting my phone back here? I need to look at it again. So, here's an interesting question. How have your gaming habits changed with age as you've gotten
that is a really hard question to answer. Oh, wow.
See, I would have told you. I would have told you beforehand, but I wanted it to be a surprise.
A little bit too much of a surprise, dude. Fuck.
I've gotten a lot more PC focused.
I see that from a lot of people.
A lot more PC focused.
I probably would too if I had the money for it. Because that's kind of where everything goes eventually when emulation gets to its pristine state, you know, and that's where things are preserved. That's where all the modding happens, you know. It feels like if you want to go deeper with it, that's where you have to go, you know. So I probably would, and I will at some point.
When I was like, say like ages like 10 to 15 roughly, I didn't really play a lot of adventure games. Like something about them didn't really appeal to me at the time. But like as I've gotten older, I've kind of I enjoy more of the exploration and discovery elements of adventure games, and games that have adventure elements in them, like Metroidvanias. I fucking love Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
So like I've definitely gotten I've gained a better taste for, that's a better way to put it. I've gained a better taste for adventure and adventure-esque game genres.
Yeah.
I play first-person shooters a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
Like, the only first-person shooter I used to play was GoldenEye, and that's fucking it. But, like, whenever there's a new first-person shooter that comes out that like, it's available on a system that I have, cough, switch, cough, it's on my radar.
I really like when Nerol pointed out that the only people who still think GoldenEye was good are people that are playing it on PC.
Oh boy, look, I replayed GoldenEye in the last 3 years, and let me tell you guys, fun game, very enjoyable to play. Good by modern standards? Fuck no. That game does not age well.
By the way, the remake, was that Move exclusive? I forget.
Like on the PS3 version?
Yeah, GoldenEye Reloaded.
No, you could play it with a regular controller.
All right, I will add that to my long ass list of shit to collect.
Yeah. I've mentioned it like a billion times before, but I do genuinely really like the GoldenEye remake.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I don't get why, but like a lot of people kept comparing it to Call of Duty, but I'm like, well, yes, it does utilize a lot of Call of Duty-esque gameplay elements, but that's only because it's an Activision game. It still has a very heavy focus on stealth. So, like, I really don't see what the big deal is. I don't know. The thing is with the N64 GoldenEye, the entire game was just barreling through everything, guns blazing. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do stealth with the N64 game, but that was boring.
You could also bite off your own fingers and throw them in a melting pot. But I mean,
I'm going to be honest. Stealth with the N64 GoldenEye is boring as fuck. Whereas with the remake on Wii and PS3 and Xbox 360, the stealth is actually really well implemented and fun.
Yeah.
Also, it has the better tank mission. Fuck you. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
They improved the tank mission.
Oh, damn.
Speaking of stealth, I can say I'm definitely a lot more patient than
Yeah.
way back in the day.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Back when I was like between the ages of say 5 and 9, 10 years old, I basically did not know how to play video games.
Yeah.
There were games that I was good at for someone that young, but I basically didn't quite know how to play a lot of these games properly. Like, I was playing Mech Warrior 2 when I was like 6, and I did not know how to play that game.
You started early with.
I started very early
with mechs and sims and the like.
Yeah.
Well, while I was out there playing The Sims, he was just playing Sims.
What's funny, there's like a 3-month stretch of time where The Sims was basically the only game I was playing.
Probably same.
And then I never played again.
Yep. You know, that's also another topic that comes up a lot, not to detract too much from our current one, but is that why doesn't The Sims have an actual competitor? And the answer that's usually given is just because the brand power of The Sims is just too strong to compete with.
Yeah.
There are some indies that are trying. Good luck to them.
Another thing that I want to point out is I've kind of split my. I used to be kind of whatever on games that had like heavy focus on cutscenes and like heavy focus on cutscenes. But as of now, I've kind of split my focus on that between like visual novels and those adjacent kind of story-heavy games, and games with more focus on gameplay. Games that are kind of in the middle that are like have to have like a ton of long cutscenes, but also like dedicated gameplay elements. Don't really appeal to me, which is why I'm not a fan of Metal Gear. Hate to say, I am not a fan of the Metal Gear series. I tried to get into it. It was not for me.
Well, here's my thing, is that like, that's fine for me if the stories are good. The problem I have is if the game is going to take me out of the game for a story that was completely half-assed.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
which I do legitimately see in a lot of like, I do see that in a lot of indie games. Some indie games, great stories, great melding of story and gameplay.
Yeah.
Some of them are just like, you are not as clever as you think you are.
I don't know. I guess it's still kind of a. I guess it's still kind of a kind of on a case-by-case basis for me, because I'm a big fan of Danganronpa.
Yeah, that's literally a case-by-case basis.
Oh, you funny.
The Hive is coming up with Danganronpa puns when people were babies. Don't talk to me about this. I love using that insult on the Amino, where I'm like, I've been into Danganronpa longer than some of you have been fucking conscious.
He's not wrong.
Sadly, I'm not. But what were you saying?
No, I'm done.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, yeah, because my thing is, like, if you're gonna have dialogue and a story, do a story. You know, don't just use it to like stretch out your improv comedy skills, which is what I see a lot. Like, like I find Super Time Force Ultra pretty fun, but oh my god, that game just keeps stopping everything for these jokes that are just not funny. It's like, it's always like shit like, wow, a sewer level, that's how original. I'm like, shut up. There's no post irony here for you to post Iron Eyes, okay? You're just doing a sewer level, you know.
AVGN made that joke fucking 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like we're all trying. It feels like some of these devs are trying to be not even AVGN. They're trying to like ape irate gamer or some shit. And it's like
gross.
It's like
that's one thing I've gotten less patient about.
It's like just shut up and let me play this stupid game if you're not going to say anything meaningful.
I guess that's another thing. I've also gotten, I don't know, like, there's a specific kind of self-awareness in games that I really don't appreciate, because it's like, come on, either immerse me in the experience or just go full on farce and just, you know.
Give me an example, because I know you're a big fan of a lot of things that are very self-aware.
Everything that I've heard about Borderlands 3 doesn't sound good.
Well, I haven't played 3 yet. I think the rest of the franchise is pretty good in that regard, but
yeah,
I've also heard bad things about the way 3 is written. So
yeah, and that's really the thing. Like from what I understand, like the previous Borderland games kind of know when to, you know, focus, and you know, they know when to be that, you know, goofy haha self-aware thing, and they know when to kind of tone it down.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Borderlands 3 just has no sense of when to do that.
Yeah.
And it
honestly, I didn't see. So I've only played the first Borderlands, so I don't know about 2. But I didn't see Borderlands as that much using the self-aware humor kind of thing.
Oh, that came about with 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the first game was very underplayed and underwritten, which is this whole situation is really funny to me, because 3 is written by the guy who wrote 1. So I don't know
what the fuck happened.
Like, they brought this guy back after Anthony Birch got kicked out for being an asshat, because, you know, the whole Birch family is just, I don't know, it's a rant for another day. But they brought back the guy from the first game, and like it seems to me, and I don't know yet, but like it seems to me like he's trying to emulate what Anthony Birch did, but not as well. Which, by the way, is a horrifying sentence. but it's true. Like, for all of Birch's faults as a person, he was a pretty good writer, all things considered. And so it's like they brought him back.
Would argue,
like,
some people would argue with that on that statement, but I'm not.
Well, you know, I can't escape people. You know, I can't. I'm sorry. I like things.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that me liking things bothers you.
I still contend that the best thing Gearbox Software did was port Halo to the PC.
Well, I'm sorry my liking things offends you.
No, don't get me wrong. I thought Borderlands was an alright game. My problems with Borderlands start way before the humor. It was an okay game, but put it this way. There was like a 2 or 3 year stretch of when I was just not playing Borderlands at all. And then over the course of like 3 days, I just finished off the campaign and I haven't touched it since.
Yeah. Anyway,
but I am that again. That's one of the things I've basically lost all patience for, is getting deep into the self-aware, self-deprecating humor thing. I want to play a video game. I signed up to play a video game. Just let me play a damn. I want to be genuine about playing a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of one reason I get into like the whole simulator, like Elite Dangerous, DCS World, all these old flight simulators. They just take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're a fighter pilot and you're piloting a fighter jet. There's fucking Russians or whatever Arab nation is going on, and they're fucking shit up. So now you have to go blow up their ship.
Yeah,
so, thank you.
That's interesting though, because you know, a lot of times people will throw around the term "doesn't take itself too seriously" as a positive, and To be fair, I do kind of feel that at times, because if something's taking itself seriously and you're just not invested in it at all, that's the worst feeling. You know, like, yeah, it sucks when something's not taking itself seriously at all and you want it to, but I think it sucks even more when something is taking itself seriously and it's not good. So there's nothing for you to really engage with. Whereas the alternative is that you might chuckle at something, you know?
I kind of have the opposite view, is when something's taking itself seriously and it's just not working, then okay, it just has a bad story.
Yeah.
Whereas something's not taking itself seriously, but you feel like it should be, and it's like it's unrealized potential. Like this could have been a lot better. Like,
well, I feel like they're both unrealized potential though, just from different angles.
Unrealized potential from different angles, but when something's taking itself too seriously, I'm not certain having that not take itself seriously would make the story better.
I think
I actually think it would kind of make it worse.
Yeah,
I think my best way
at that point, it's like it's covering up for a bad story by saying, "Oh, we're not really serious about this horrible story." It's like, okay, if they created a horrible story, then I can't really yeah, I can fault them for making a bad story, but I can't really say they were being lazy or trying to cover up for the fact that they can't write.
Well,
they can't write. They did the best they could. They did the best they could. I can't really fault them for that.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Well, my thing is that, like, fuck, my sister interrupting me threw off my train of thought. My thing is, like, because, like, I don't see the solution to that as suddenly not taking yourself seriously. I see the solution to that as just not having a story in your game. It's like I don't think that's the thought process a lot of people have.
To me, honestly, that would be ideal. Just don't have a story. Just don't try and tell this overarching story. Don't try and be a Call of Duty at a low level or Metal Gear at the higher level. You don't need to do that. Just give me a video game.
Yeah. I guess the moral of the story is, if you're gonna make something, whatever you're making, don't suck.
Yeah, don't be bad.
Yeah. Don't suck and be earnest.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I guess my point is that you can be earnest about whatever tone you want to set, though. So
yeah.
Well, I earnestly done, tongue in cheek, I can appreciate.
Yeah.
When I feel like when it starts to feel like it's trying to compensate for something,
right.
Like the ability to write a good story.
I think that's really where my issue comes in. I think that's really where my issue comes in is when this kind of like self-aware, tongue-in-cheek, wink nudge writing starts to become more a crutch that the writer leans on to make up for the fact that they don't know how to actually write this seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my main issue.
Yeah. As usual, as we are on our never-ending quest to define what criticism is and isn't, it's identifying what they're trying to do and how well they do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, there you go. Now, back to habits changing with age, for me.
Oh yeah, that was the topic. Whoops.
Yep. Well, yeah, I kept it in the back of my mind because I never said anything about it. But how have my habits changed with age? I've gotten into a lot more genres than I used to, but that's mostly because, well, it's two things. It's that more genres exist, and it's also that I have access to more things than I did when I was a youngin', you know. And also, I was really bad at at parsing what was good and bad when I was young, you know.
And I think that goes for a lot of us because, like, when we're very young, we don't really hold the media that we consume to the same standards as adults do.
Yeah, well, it's that, and also kind of unavoidable in a way because, like, you don't know what's gonna become a classic. But, like, I guess even at the time, though, I probably could have paid more attention to what was going on. Another thing is, one of my big regrets is that I kind of missed out on the entire 6th generation because I was a PC gamer at that time, You know, those were that entire generation. Those were my World of Warcraft days. You know.
Yeah, the funny thing is, the 6th generation is, 1, when I got into gaming, but also 2, I was playing the GameCube. So,
yeah, not
make of that what you will.
not quite as, you know, had some gems, but not quite as robust as some other libraries, perhaps.
See, the GameCube is the 1/6 gen console that I didn't play a whole lot of.
Oh man, I will say that there are a lot of phenomenal exclusives for the GameCube.
Yeah,
and it is a system worth having. It's just that a lot of the multi-plat games, like really, really big multi-plat games, we missed out on.
Yeah. Also, I would argue that Dolphin is worth having because GameCube games are expensive.
Depending on the game, yeah. Like especially if you're getting like first-party Nintendo titles, good luck finding those for a decent price.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to play Melee, you might as well emulate it.
Yeah. Man, do physical copies of Melee go for a lot these days?
Last I checked, they fucking do.
Yeah.
I can bring up eBay on my phone like really quick. So
I love how whenever the anti-piracy people come out of the woodwork, all you have to do is just link them an eBay listing for Path of Radiance, and everybody just shuts up.
It's always fucking Path of Radiance.
Yep. It's great. I love it. It's just the perfect counter argument in one image. You know, I mean, there's more you could go into, but
I'd say I'd say take us into like half of the next generation, and GameCube games will start dropping, because it isn't until right now that games from the 5th generation are starting to drop in price. Like Conker's Bad Fur Day used to be ridiculously expensive, and now you can cop it for about $50. It's not too bad.
Yeah,
only like maybe a decade and a half, and I can get a copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga for under $600.
Oh my god! Please, for the love of God, can fucking Skies of Arcadia Legends on GameCube go down already? Please,
Yeah.
I want to play that.
I was actually having this debate with someone in a thread. We were talking about, you know, the rumors that PS5 is going to be fully backwards compatible with all previous PlayStations. And I was concerned that PS3 disc prices might go up, but this guy was very, very adamant in that no, they will go down, because then at that point it's going to be 2 generations old, and that's when things always start to go down. And I'm like, I guess so, but also I don't think we've ever been in this kind of unique situation with that much backwards compatibility, though.
Okay, so I'm looking at it now. Melee has gone down a little bit, but it's still in the like 50-ish price range at the low end. So yeah.
Good thing I don't play Smash. Melee, I don't get any characters I care about until the next Smash game, so I'm all set.
Yeah. But Kevin, how much does a defunct controller that they need to execute their combos go for?
Oh god! Oh, that fucking. The fact that Smash Melee meta has gotten to the point where, in order to pull off certain combos, you need a fucking 1 in a million defected controller. At that point, I think you've gone a little too far. Just a little.
Guys, you've solved the game. It's solved.
Melee's kind of a solved game at this point, yeah.
It's like now we're getting into speedrun strats for a fucking competitive fighting game.
Smash Ultimate is actually one of the major pillars at EVO this year, and Melee is nowhere to be seen. It's not even, a minor thing at EVO this year, and a lot of people just started dunking on Melee players because it's like crime orbit.
Oh, Melee is not at EVO this year?
No, it's not. No.
Good.
Exactly. Thank you. Ultimate is better.
Oh, damn. If anybody listened to us, you'd be in hot shit.
Fight me, bitch.
Fight me, non-existent listeners.
I'll fucking defend this.
You don't know who you are.
I mean, I've been playing Virtua Fighter 2 since I was 5. I'm not going to say I'm real good at it, but I don't know where I was going with that. I apologize. All I'm saying is I've been playing Virtua Fighter 2 since I was 5.
I was just hearing
I'm proud
about
of that.
Like a week ago, there was a new Ocarina of Time speedrun exploit that requires you to have 3 controllers plugged in and the joystick like angled in a specific way with a rubber band.
What the goddamn shit?
Yeah, because they discovered like arbitrary code execution or something, and that requires like some crazy setup with like 3 controllers and several rubber bands.
That is so ridiculous that it actually needs to be a new speedrunning, like, that has to be another speedrunning subcategory, like,
Yeah, that was
Ocarina of Time 3 controllers.
Yeah, that's starting to be the argument with Ocarina of Time, is that some of these strats require so much ludicrous setup, and more to the point, are just not as fun to watch, that they should really be their own category.
Reminds me of this video that I saw regarding GoldenEye speedrunning, when people discovered look down, which is you'll look down so that the game doesn't have to render as much, so it runs at a higher frame rate and thus goes faster.
Yep.
Like that almost broke GoldenEye speedrunning, because a lot of people just said, "Well, fuck it, that's not fun to watch anymore."
Yeah. Yeah. That's the argument, because the way arbitrary code execution works is that now people are just like skipping to the end credits sequence, and a lot of people are like, no, it's like, no, like the end of a run is when you beat the final boss, you know.
Yeah.
Like, to them, that's the, getting to that point is the exciting part. If you're just skipping to the credits, then a lot of people feel like it should be its own category. Not gonna weigh in on that. I'm not in the community, so.
Yeah.
The multiple controllers thing just reminds me of WoW multi-boxing.
Remind me what that is. I know what that is in the back of my mind, but I don't know.
You're basically one person playing multiple WoW characters.
Oh, right.
So
We open
you're-
multiple, like, executables, multiple windows.
Yeah, exactly. Multiple
Yeah.
executables, multiple windows.
Oh, yeah. I did that.
Multiple
I did
PCs,
that.
multiple
Yeah.
keyboards.
See, I did that for role playing and not actually for, like, raiding or anything. I imagine what I was doing is a bit easier.
I've seen people who PvP multi-box, and I'm like, okay,
What the fuck?
listen, I have enough trouble corralling 39 other people trying to get to the dude in Stormwind. I'm not gonna try and play 5 people myself. It's a bit too hardcore for me.
That just reminds me how
Motherfucker, meet me in the Arathi Highlands. I will gank your ass from 5 separate locations at once.
it just reminds me.
This like human mage that just splits into 5 identical human mages.
Yep.
You talk about people like, fucking PvPing themselves, and the only thing I can think is the fact that Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of Smash Brothers, is so goddamn skilled that he can actually, like, 1v1 himself.
Crazy. It's crazy. I remember.
I'm legit thinking that, like, these showcase live streams that he does are actually partially a way for him to show off the fact that he can, like, fucking fight himself in Smash Brothers and still be good at it.
When you're so good at the game, your only viable opponent is yourself.
Yep. That's legitimately the problem with Melee, actually, is that it's gotten to the point where, like, the top 4 people are so skilled that they can only really compete amongst themselves.
Yeah, it's just not really. Yeah, there's no entryway there.
The only way to win is not to play at all.
Yeah, as that 4chan post we keep trying not to quote says, the only way the winner is not decided is if you put them all on the same side of the bracket for some reason. You're never gonna match 15 years of muscle memory training. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Anyway, welcome back to the Melee Sucks podcast. We shit on Melee all the time. That's what we do here. So anyway, man, that was a tangent. I find myself going back and experiencing Gen 6 games. As I told Kevin this, but I have, at this point, collected pretty much every HD collection on PS3 that matters.
Yeah.
I think the only one I don't have is, like, the Tomb Raider one, which is, like, Whatever. Nobody cares. It's not the good Tomb Raiders.
Boy,
Which
that's
Tomb Raiders
gonna
is it?
It's like the PS2 ones. Like
Oh, yeah.
Tomb
correct.
Tomb Raider Legend and Onward.
yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. It's not the good ones.
I think Angel of Darkness is on there. I don't remember.
Oh god, that's the worst one.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna
you're
look-
correct.
I'm gonna look at. I actually don't know which specific ones are on there, but I know it's not the PS1 ones, so it's not the good ones. It's kind of like how we used to talk about Spyro, where it's like it's not the PS1 ones, so it's not the good ones.
Spyro Enter the Dragonfly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love watching Easy Escape speedrun. I think it's a Hero's Tale, because they put the warp to the end of the game right in front of the start point. Like normally you can't do it until you check off arbitrary burials, but you can literally just glitch through the ground and get to the final boss in like 8 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so amusing. Let's see. By the way, I also love that whenever anyone says Hitman Trilogy, they mean 2 through 4. Nobody likes the first game. I can't read it. The cover's too low res. Okay, the HD trilogy for Tomb Raider includes Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Anniversary, and Tomb Raider Underworld.
Okay, yeah, so that's like the post Angel of Darkness era, so it's like the less shitty era of old Lara Croft, but like not the good era.
Yeah. Anniversary was okay, but that's only because it was basically a remake of the first one.
Yeah.
Strangely does not contain Angel of Darkness. Good.
Strangely.
I mean, they put DMC2 on the DMC collection, so obviously there's not a whole lot of quality control.
Wait.
Also, I don't.
Wait.
Also, I don't.
They put
What?
DMC. Are you talking about the HD collection for like 360 PS3 or?
Yeah.
I don't think they
DMC2's on
did.
there. Yes, I have it. Don't fucking
What?
tell me. Yes, 1, 2, 3. They put it on there.
Okay, I will not argue this with you. I will not argue.
The other one I don't have is the Silent Hill one, but that's a clusterfuck, so nobody cares.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You said you have all the good ones.
Yeah. But see, the funny thing is that's not on my list, but like shit like Homecoming is on my list, because at least that's uniquely shitty. It's not a worse version of it's not a worse version of something that's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
Do you remember Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris? I'm just seeing that right now. What the fuck is this?
Wasn't that like the top-down fucking adventure or something or other?
Yeah, they came out with a bunch of those like top-down kind of isometric twin stick shooter style.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
games.
I'm looking at the PS4 version on Amazon, and I see box includes only one product key card, no disc. I'm like, yeah, it sucks when it's a PS4 game. This shit.
Oh boy.
Yep. Why? Wait a minute. This is so fucking funny. $6 shipping, so you can get a code in a box.
Just give me the code.
My brain trembles.
Email exists.
My
I
brain.
could just email it to you.
My brain trembles.
Got to spend $6 shipping to ship you a code that they could have just emailed to you.
Well, I mean, like technically you're buying the box, but fuck you.
What the fuck do you need the box for?
so you can claim that you own a quote unquote copy of Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. I love how it doesn't even have.
I can also
branding.
I can also dig a fucking box of it out of the dumpster behind the GameStop and say I have it, but I don't.
I like how this game is apparently so shitty. It doesn't even have Tomb Raider branding. It's just Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, when you're not quality enough for the Tomb Raider license. Anyway, where's my topic list? Why do I keep putting my phone back there?
Stop putting your phone back there.
But I apparently want to.
But it's bad.
Let's see. Do you guys have trouble going back to games after you've taken breaks from them?
Depends on the game, but generally speaking, sorta, kinda. I tried to get back into Ys 8 fairly recently, and I'm like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that was a situation where your save got wiped, so that has some added anxiety to it.
Yeah, that's another part of it. Is just like, oh, I gotta go through a friggin' 35-hour long game just to get to the point where I was last time.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I will beat Ys 8 one of these days, just not today.
If only you were a PlayStation Plus member and could have uploaded your saves to the cloud for protection.
How about I fucking
join today?
Take my PSTV, ram it up your ass.
You know what? I don't think it would do fatal damage. I'm going to be honest. I think it's just small enough that I think I might be okay. I might have to go to the ER, but I think they could get it out.
It probably hurt.
It would most certainly hurt.
Which is my goal.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's not life-threatening. I think they could remove it.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know why you decided to think through the logistics of that.
I don't know why you decided to shove a PSTV up my ass, but, you know, here we are.
Yeah, usually when I come back to a game after an extended period, I'm usually prepared to come back to it. So
yeah,
it's usually not a big deal. The exception is when it's something that I have to, like, I'm in the middle of some kind of storyline.
Yeah. And
for some reason I left off right in the middle of it, and then I have to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. A lot of games these days have, like, recap journals or shit like that to help with that.
Oh, you mean like when you boot up Sonic Adventure in the middle of a story and...
Yeah!
I'm Sonic!
Yeah!
Sonic the Hedgehog!
But some more games need to do that with that voiceover.
Specifically.
Just bring in Ryan Dorman to voice everything.
Just tell you what you did last time you played the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest XI has that feature, which I will not with Ryan Drummond, but it does have the recap
element of that feature.
Was it not Roger yet?
No, like the original adventure games had Ryan Drummond. So that's the joke we're making.
I thought it went from Jason Griffith to Robert.
To Roger, right? Roger, yeah.
Oh yeah, Roger. Yeah. Well, I just said it went from
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
I'm just saying. The chronology of Sonic voice actors went from Jason to Roger.
Yes.
So who the fuck are you talking about?
The guy before Jason.
Oh, there was a guy before Jason?
Yeah, Jason only started with Shadow the Hedgehog for Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Heroes. He was voiced by Ryan Drummond.
Oh, who voiced him in Sad AM?
Jaleel White.
Yep.
And he was voiced by someone completely different in the OVA series, and now we're just making it confusing for everybody.
Are we chronologically confused about Sonic's voice actors?
Yes, we are.
You seem a little young to be chronologically confused by Sonic's voice actors. Yes, we are. For me, it has more to do with the complexity of the game and how much I need to learn and know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I leave a shooter, I'm not going to forget how to play a shooter. But if I leave a fucking CRPG, like, yeah, I'm kind of fucked, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I played like 10 hours of Divinity Original Sin years ago, and like I can't just go back to that save. That's complicated. You know? I'd have to start over again at that point. So the situation, it really has more to do with the complexity of the game, and sometimes with the narrative, but mostly with complexity of the game and how used I am to how those games work.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So for this one, I feel like the answer is mostly going to be no for us. But do the this was a thread, and I thought it was interesting. But do the beliefs of the developers influence your decision to support them in any way?
Generally speaking, not especially.
Yeah.
My focus is mostly on did you make a good game that I can enjoy myself?
Yeah,
personally?
Yeah. This came about because when the Disco Elysium guys were accepting their award, they thanked Marx.
Oh yeah.
People were taken back by that, and apparently they have a framed picture of Stalin in their office, which by the way, somebody on Twitter told me it's like a weird cultural thing. Where I'm gonna find that tweet because I thought it was so weird.
Please do, because I want to know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, because I'm just like, look, nobody supports socialist reform more than me, but I think hanging a picture of Stalin in your office is going a little far.
Just a little.
There's advocating for socialist reform, and then there's literally having a dictator's portrait hanging up. Like, okay, we understand that he had a whole economic agenda that you may or may not support, but he also had gulags.
Yeah.
He also killed the law. He was also responsible for that.
So somebody said, I'm pretty sure they're like Slavoj Zizek, another Estonian socialist, and keep it on the wall ironically as a conversation piece. And I'm like, is that something they do in Slavic countries? Is they just keep pictures of Stalin just to talk about Stalin? I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, that's fascinating.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, I will take your word for it and give them the benefit of the doubt, but I have no fucking reference for what you're talking about.
Yeah, like it's just a bunch of question marks popping up in my head. Why?
Yeah. If there's one culture I don't know enough about to judge the situation, it's like Eastern Europe, previously war ravaged like nations. You know, like I don't know enough to really judge that. But for a lot of people, the fact that they were so brazen about thanking Marx for their success or whatever turned them off to them.
I won't lie, it puts a bad taste in my mouth, but if I've played the game and it's a good game and then the developers go buck wild, I'm not gonna say the game's bad.
Yeah.
If I haven't played the game, then it's gonna put a bad taste in my mouth just because I generally don't like game developers running their mouths about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that sounds dangerously close to stay in your lane talk, which I generally don't like.
I'm not gonna go as far as stay in your lane, but there is a how do I put this delicately?
Is there a way to put it delicately?
Are you just gonna say that an award show for your game is not the place to say that?
No, I'm not gonna say that. But what I am gonna say is, if you pop off about your political views or whatnot, and that puts a bad taste in people's mouths, and it results in people not buying your game as a result, then that's kind of your fault.
Yeah, well,
it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to understand how to read the room and understand exactly what kind of audience you are catering to and what kind of audience you have also become like what your game has become a part of.
That's not even it for me. That's like, if that's you, go ahead. Cool on the gag. Like if the Disco Elysium guys, if they're that passionate about socialism, cool in the gang, but do understand it's going to turn some people off, and do understand that people are going to judge you for that, and do understand that it's going to reflect, especially in this political climate, do understand that it's going to reflect poorly on your game to an extent. Your game's not going to reach the maximum number of people that it can. And if they're okay with that, then that's cool in the gang.
Yeah.
But otherwise, then it's a decision you have to make. And it's kind of the same thing with when Cliffy B was hyping up Lawbreakers and was running his mouth then.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, you ran your mouth and it ended badly for you.
I mean, to be fair, I think there's a lot of reasons why Lawbreakers didn't work out, but
there was a lot of reasons. A non-trivial part of it was Cliffy B running his mouth.
Yeah.
And there are consequences to running your mouth if you're selling it.
Yeah.
I love how recently Cliffy B was talking about how Lawbreakers fucking bombed, and he fucking blamed it on the game being too woke.
Well, if you actually looked in the replies there, that headline was clickbait. That's one of the things he said, but his argument was a lot more nuanced than that.
Cliffy B just needs to shut his mouth and go back to making Unreal Tournament maps. How come the guy who didn't even make the best Unreal Tournament maps gets to run his mouth for decades?
Boy.
He did. Does anyone remember Mojo 2 or Heel Pod 2?
I don't.
You don't.
I don't.
You remember Facing Worlds, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember Facing Worlds? Remember Morpheus? All right. Listen.
Yeah.
Fucking Cliffy B gets to run his mouth for decades post Unreal Tournament. Meanwhile, honestly, if Enox Fiorentino isn't getting blown 24/7, 365 just off of Facing Worlds, this planet this is a gross injustice. If this guy isn't getting head all the time just off of Facing Worlds. Did we get a remake of Mojo 2 or Heel Pot or the Fetid Sewers in any other subsequent Unreal Tournament game?
No.
What CTF map gets remade every single Unreal Tournament game? Even the one that Epic Games canceled a while back to work on Fortnite, which was a mistake.
Yeah.
Facing Worlds. Because Enox Fiorentino is a god, and if this guy isn't getting sexually satisfied all the time, we have failed as a species. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Yeah.
If Enox Fiorentino wants to run his mouth, please. If there's one person on this planet I want to hear from, it's the guy who made Facing Worlds. I do not want to hear from Cliffy B. Don't want to hear from him.
The other thing I was going to bring up is that,
I'm actually mad about this.
Yeah.
This is a very spirited argument.
Because, how come the guy who made, maybe 2 memorable maps in Unreal Tournament, how come he gets to run his mouth? Does anyone remember CTF Gauntlet? I've played on that map twice, maybe.
I was gonna say that what in sort of tangentially to the Disco Elysium thing is that one thing I do really respect is that the developers of Dead Cell's Motion Twin they really put their money where their mouth is, because they legitimately do not have a traditional corporate structure. They are a worker-owned commune based in France. And I just found that to be really interesting, really interesting. And I don't know if that really helps the perception of the belief system, but because a lot of when the Disco Elysium guys said that, a lot of people were like, "To her, you support this, but you sold your game through the means and whatever. You produced it and sold it through these traditional channels." And I don't know if I'm gonna guess most people aren't going to respect Motion Twin for putting their money where their mouth is and adopting this structure, this worker-owned structure. But I respect it, you know, and I wanted to bring that up.
I can respect it. I'm not sure how much it reflects on their game.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, then honestly, I think that's a good thing. If they can adopt an alternate corporate structure, if they can be a worker-owned co-op and still create a game and nobody can tell that, then I think that's a testament to how well that corporate structure can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then,
I think it is kind of. I think it's kind of weak and a straw man to call out the Disco Elysium people for you're socialist, but you sold your game. I think that's
two things. That's number one, fundamentally misunderstanding what socialism is.
Yeah.
Which is very common. And number two, it's the so you live in a society argument. It's like maybe society can be improved somewhat. Oh, but you live in society, do you not? And it's like, yeah, what the fuck is your point?
But then at the same time, it goes back to my argument of where that's kind of their fault.
Yeah.
For even making it a point to talk about their political views.
Yeah, look, I understand why it's not smart from a business point of view, but at the same time, I don't want to live in a world where people can't express their views because of business reasons. I feel like that's a bad place to live in.
Well, that's what I'm saying though, is that you're free to do that, but and if you feel that strongly about it, then go ahead, 100%. But you kind of can't complain if that turns people off and makes them not want to.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they did complain. So, you know.
Well, yeah. And good that they didn't complain, and what it really comes down to is because they're really that, like, they're about that life.
Yeah.
So someone who's kind of sort of about that life but still wants the money would have kept their mouth shut.
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up is just because it's a thing to talk about, the fucking Call of Cthulhu controversy.
What was that?
Where they put a warning at the beginning. Like, did you know Lovecraft was a very racist man, and our game doesn't reflect his views or whatever? And then people are like, but you made a game based on Lovecraft. And it's like, I don't agree with this idea that like old person had bad beliefs, so highly inspirational and important art and media that people have been emulating and homaging to and respecting for decades. We can't do that anymore because old white people were bad.
Yeah, reminds me like every single time I see someone bring up Lovecraft on like Tumblr or whatever, there's always that one person being like, "Hey, what was the name of Lovecraft's cat?" Like, look, everyone knows what Lovecraft's cat was named. Okay, we don't need to bring that up again.
Well, yeah, and it's just like people have this argument like you're capitalizing on like racist, classist beliefs, and I'm just like, maybe, but
Does
I'm not
really does it really show through in the material though?
I mean, that's up to interpretation. I haven't played it. I don't think so. I don't think they would do that. I don't think they'd put a warning there if they felt like their game was evocative of Lovecraft's views. But like, I think it's again just like separate art from artist. Like, yes, you can make the argument that Lovecraft's views defined aspects about his work, but there are other aspects of his work that have validity outside of the beliefs that form them. You know, so his xenophobia might be a big impetus for his work's strong sense of the fear of the unknown and, you know, stuff like that. But the ideas have validity beyond their inspiration. And that's, again, why I always say to separate art from artist, is because it's important and yet it's not, you know. It's important to recognize the context of these things, but it also doesn't wholly define them. You know, because, you know, some people might... I've had people tell me before that my dismissal of Death of the Author is incompatible with my separate art from artist view, and I'm like, it really isn't. You just have to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
You know? Where it's like, the author's intentions matter to understanding the work, but that doesn't mean that you can't appreciate things outside of the context from which they were made. Or, like, appreciate them with that context, but, like, not take it to heart. Like, I don't even know. Very complex ideas.
My issue, pretty specifically, is that the people making that game are, one, quite transparently using the fact that Lovecraft's works are public domain now as a way to create this game, and coming off of that too, when they had that whole make sure you know, people, Lovecraft is racist section in their game book, they named a bunch of authors of color, and my issue is, why do you gotta make a game based off of the white guy's work then?
Yeah.
If the concern is this guy was a virulent racist, and we need to acknowledge that this guy was a virulent racist, and we need to make sure that authors and artists and creators of color get the attention and the accolades they deserve, then why the fuck are you making a game based on the white guy's work? And what it comes down to is, well, everyone knows Lovecraft, and they're trying to get that. It's exactly what I was talking about at the tail end of the last question. They're only sort of kinda about that life, but really they just want that money.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And that's what I don't respect.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think the simpler answer, which again is not kind of distinct from what you're saying, because what you're saying is true, but I think the simpler answer is that Lovecraftian things and Lovecraft's work and aesthetic, that makes better games than a lot of these other works they're pimping. That doesn't make it more or less valid than those works. It just makes it more appropriate for a video game. You know,
as I understand, this was a tabletop game, I think.
What was this? Okay, was this the tabletop game, or was this the remake of Call? I think this was the remake of Call of Cthulhu from like 2006, and then like remade it. I think there were like two different controversies going at the same time.
Yeah.
One was with the Call of Cthulhu remake devs, and the other was with the board game that completely missed the point of Lovecraftian horror by pimping about how strong and badass you could be.
Okay, yeah, that's some straight up fucking dumb shit.
Yeah. That was the tabletop guys. I think the controversy I'm talking about is the Call of Cthulhu remake devs.
Okay.
Right.
Isn't it? It's so fucking weird. We had 2 Lovecraft controversies within a span of a week.
Time.
Bullshit. Both of them bullshit for completely different reasons.
Yeah. No, I agree. But the other side of this, I think, is that if they didn't put that warning there, I think people would still shit on them for it. You know. So like, it's one of those things where it's like they put it there, and we can call them disingenuous for it. And if they don't put it there, people are still gonna give them shit for it.
Well,
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
If it's what it comes down to is who you get shit on by. If you put it there, you're gonna get shit on by all the people who are tired of being preached to by people who make games.
Yeah.
And if you don't put it there, you're gonna get shit on by all the people who are really concerned about racism in video games or tabletop games or whatever.
Yeah.
So damned if you do, damned if you don't. It all really comes down to where you actually stand.
Yeah. The kinds of people that have never played D&D in their lives, but are virulently angry that racial bonuses are a thing.
The kinds of people who use gamer as a derogatory term.
Exactly. Looping it back. I like it. This is a fucking Mobius strip of a podcast. It just comes right back. Anyway, that's all the topics I pulled. So I think that's gonna do it for the second segment. Yep. We'll be back with we have an email to read, and we're gonna talk about some of our experiences with the old internet web. Well, we're in like Web 3.0 right now, so it would be like Web 2.0.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't even know who decides these things. It seems kind of arbitrary, like when Easter is, you know. But regardless of when Easter is, we will see you in the next segment of the Baka Gaijin show. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show and our just so freezing cold third segment. We're so chill that our internal temperatures are dangerously dropping. That's how chill we are. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from. It is from friend of the show and longtime viewer Cube the Third is who it's from.
Hey.
Yeah. Or as his Gmail name says, Cube the Third. The third. Hey, BGS. Been a while since I sent you all email. Really enjoyed your response to the last email. Anyway, this is again for Zeke. I know you are a fan of the PlayStation brand, but what is your opinion of them over the last few years of their censorship of certain Japanese games? Their censorship is hypocritical considering I heard there was an underage sex scene in one of the Life is Strange games. Feel free to correct me, and I will. Honestly, I was thinking about getting a PS4 until I heard this crap. Thought I'd ask with the PS5 on the horizon. Now a question for the both of you. Should we start calling Funimation the EA of North American anime distributors? To the second question, maybe. I mean, you gotta define your variables here. You know.
Yeah.
What you know?
EA in what way?
Yeah, you gotta. What defines an EA? You know.
Because remember, EA has a body count.
Oh, you went there. Oh.
Origin dead, Westwood dead, Maxis dead,
Pandemic dead.
Pandemic dead,
Visceral dead.
Visceral dead.
Oh,
They're probably going to be knocking at the door on BioShock on BioWare next.
Oh boy!
I can't wait till Respawn dies.
Don't even make me think about that. It's like the last good studio under their umbrella.
It's gonna happen. So in those terms, I would say Funimation has been a bit less damaging to people's lives.
They've been less damaging to, well, they've been less damaging to the properties that they have dominion over, and only because they haven't just straight up like erased those properties from existence.
Yeah. So not quite. So if you're asking, is Funimation comparable to EA, we're gonna say no. If you're asking, is Funimation the worst distributor, probably.
Yeah.
They have easily the largest, like they're the most flawed in terms of their company policies, in terms of their general output, in terms of their quality control and that sort of thing. I would say so.
In terms of their attitude on Twitter.com. Like my thing, I was talking to Anubis about this before we recorded when Kevin was off. I don't know, tickling things. I don't know. I was saying that other distributors don't have controversies every other week like Funimation does. You know?
Yeah.
I can't remember, like when I think of like a Viz controversy, I think of like those Sailor Moon Blu-rays from like 7 years ago. You know.
Pretty much.
When I think of like a Sentai controversy, I think of like Foster era stuff. You know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is again like 7 years ago.
When I think of Funimation controversies, I think of last week and the week before that and the week before that and the week before that. You know.
When I think of discotheque controversies, I don't.
Exactly.
So like, some people who will not be named might say, well, this is just this is just an industry problem. This is a distributor problem. They face the same problems everyone else does. I'm like, but they're so bad at it. You know, nobody else has these constant fuck ups like they do.
You really do have to look at the output of Funimation compared to other people within the same industry, and you gotta wonder what the hell is going on over at Funimation to where they're the biggest anime distributor, and yet they're the ones that are fucking up the most.
Yes, somehow the biggest operation in the game is having so much trouble maintaining a good product and staying out of the news on a bad note.
Yep.
Somehow the biggest, most successful company in the market is having that much trouble staying out of the news in the bad note. Something has to be going on there, and here's the thing: people say it's an industry problem. The rest of the industry doesn't seem to be having the same problems Funimation is having, not by a long shot.
Yeah.
Not even Crunchyroll has the same problems Funimation's having.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll certainly does have their fair share of issues, but
They got problems, but not Funimation problems.
Yep.
Funimation can't seem to have a streak of doing things right that lasts more than like a month.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there was like a 3-month period where I'm like, oh, hey, it looks like they're actually starting to improve their workflow. You know, they're releasing good material. Their dubs seem to be pretty good, and then it just fell off a cliff again.
Yep.
Yep. But anyway, back to the question for me. First of all, the Life is Strange thing. Well, first of all, I'm not sure why you're even bringing that up, because Life is Strange is not Sony. That's Square Enix. But for underage sex scene, not explicitly, no. In Life is Strange 2, there's one of those like fade to black moments, but like, no, not like, it's not like explicit or anything, so it's not like, that's not like an argument to make in this censorship debacle. There are better.
It's nothing like what other things that Sony has been censoring.
Yeah, there's probably better games to go after in that regard, but I don't know though off the top of my head. But what is my opinion of them over the last few years? Well, first of all, their censorship hasn't affected too many games I actually care about. The one I can think of is Zonky Zero.
Yeah,
but that's kind of it for me right now. Obviously, I empathize with anyone who has had games be affected by this, but I don't think it's been quite as prolific as we all feared it would be. At least from where I'm sitting. So that doesn't factor in too, like, obviously I don't like it, but it hasn't been as much of a factor for me. Obviously, as soon as it starts affecting things I care about, I might care more, but like, it hasn't really yet, and I don't foresee it doing that, and they haven't really been talking about it for the last like year and a half. So I mean, it probably still exists, but I don't know. But like, opinion of them as a whole, they're doing fine. You know.
I say this as a PS4 owner and a PS2 owner. I've been trying to tell people for years that Sony isn't very good, and people are just now catching up to it because there's a whole thing about the censorship, which that's really new. That's ridiculously new for Sony. So for the longest time, Sony has been the place to go if you want to get Japanese games.
Yeah.
And it's only been just recently. A lot of people are relating this to moving their headquarters to San Francisco. I don't know how much that plays into it, but I've been trying to tell people for quite a few years that the Emperor has no clothes with regard to Sony, and it's kind of disappointing that the censorship thing is what people are focusing on, but I don't know. I actually really don't care that much with regard to my whole deal with Sony, because again, I can't keep going on the Sony's terrible bandwagon while having a PS3 like 2 feet away from me. Having a PS4 like 2 feet
I have a PS3 1 foot away from me.
It's like I can't do that.
Yeah.
But they've made a number of really, really questionable business decisions. The whole thing with the it was so shitty I can't even remember what it's called. The little PlayStation 1 thing.
Oh, PlayStation Classic.
The PlayStation Classic.
Yeah.
Like,
well, here
really?
Okay,
We're not putting the best games on. We're not bundling that with the best controller for that particular console, really?
Well, here's my thing, because it's my question. Is that I mean, you can say what you want, but here's my thing: is that like I think it really depends when who's texting me? What's going on here? One sec, I gotta see what this is.
It's not me. I'm eating Cheez-Its.
Oh, Craig finally sent me the last section. Usually he does it instantly, but I guess it took a bit. Anyway, so when you're dealing with a company this big that has their hands in so many different cookie jars, your opinion of them is really going to depend on what you're focusing on, you know?
True.
Because Sony, even if you want to like zoom out from the PlayStation brand, is a huge company with so many hands and so many cookie jars. And like there are parts of Sony that I think really need to improve, like their animation division for the most part. I mean, I know it's weird to say coming off the hotness of Spider-Verse, but like for a long time Sony animation was not good. And I will say that they were not good. And you know, you could point to some of their other things like their music division or their completely failing TV division. But like PlayStation, I think almost inarguably is probably the best part of Sony, I would say. I don't share a lot of specific grievances people have. And I think that just comes down to what I focus on. I mean, they've obviously done things I don't like as much. I don't like how they treated the Vita, but I get it, you know? I don't like that their platform isn't as open as it used to be in terms of like user interface and like the things you could do with it, because the PS3 was ridiculously open with the kind of shit you could do with it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and a lot of that is gone in PS4, but at the same time, that's kind of everyone's locking their shit down for like anti-piracy measures, you know, like Nintendo's doing that. You can't even put a like, yeah, Nintendo's done that forever. You know, I think Xbox is doing that too. Like everybody's, you know, you go to phones, like all tech companies are doing this shit. So like, it's not like a Sony problem.
Right.
So I'm not going to get too up in arms about that, even though it's fucking stupid. I can't put media from a USB stick onto the console itself. I have to read it off the console. That's stupid, but I get it, you know, and everyone's doing it. So, but like, I like the platform. I like a lot of the games they make. I feel like they always have some. I mean, if we're really going to break down the competition between them and Microsoft, they always have just more, you know. And so, because like, I guess the ways in which Microsoft is better are ways that don't necessarily appeal to me. For a while it was online features, but Sony's kind of caught up in that regard. So that's not as big a deal as it used to be. I know Microsoft has changed their entire business model almost to the point where just a few days ago, Phil Spencer said they don't see PlayStation as a competitor, which is a really weird thing to say. But when you look at what they're doing with like Project X Cloud and whatever Series X ends up being, it makes sense.
And not to mention Microsoft has been extremely buddy with Nintendo and putting their properties on that system, like on the Switch. So
I've said it a few times. Don't be surprised if in the future, if in like a few years in the future, the not so distant future, you start seeing Xbox Live on the Switch. Don't be surprised.
Yep.
I think they've actually stated that like Xbox Live on Switch is something that they are interested in implementing to some degree. So
oh wow, if only there was some guy who could have foreseen that we could all listen to.
What, you mean 3 seconds ago?
Well, I've been saying that for a while.
Yeah,
I've also been saying for a while that Xbox is the new Sega, in that they're doing stuff that's kind of offbeat and we're not going to see the full effects of what they're doing for
Yeah.
1 or 2 generations removed from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like what they're doing with I'm not a subscriber yet, but I like what they're doing with Game Pass. But the thing about Xbox Game Pass is that it's almost equally like a PC thing as much as it is an Xbox thing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So that's really good. But at the same time, PlayStation Now is also pretty good now that they've kind of moved away from being exclusively game streaming, and now it's like it's kind of hinged into the same direction as Game Pass in terms of just providing you with like an instant library. So like, yeah, I've been a Plus subscriber for a long time, and like I've gotten a lot of value out of that. There's a lot of really great deep sales on the platform, especially for Plus members. I've gotten a lot of great free games out of it. And also a lot of shit, but like there's probably a lot of factors in that. I don't know. It's complicated, you know. When the entity is so big and has so many moving parts and is so entrenched into your life and your hobbies and whatnot, it's kind of hard to have like a purely objectivist view about it. You know, it's almost like, and I really hate saying this because corporations are not your friends. But it's almost like dealing with other people, where it's like there are things you don't like about them, there are things they've done you don't like, but like at the end of the day, you know, you kind of gotta pick and choose and find out what attributes are the most important to you in determining whether you want to deal with them anymore. You know?
Yeah, and that's why that's another reason why I'm so disappointed that people's newfound ire towards Sony is entirely based on the censorship thing. Because there's a lot of things to dislike about Sony, but there's also a lot of things to like about Sony.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not a monolith. There's a lot of various divisions. People are making assertions about the thing going on with Funimation.
Yeah.
That because they're now owned by Sony, a lot of the thing going on with Ishizoku reviewers, people are drawing lines to them being owned by Sony now because they're seeing the censorship thing from Sony. I'm like, that's unsubstantiated. You know, that's a ridiculously simplistic way to look at the situation. And I realize people are mad, but that's not an excuse to be simplistic about it.
Well, it's also just ignorant of how like companies work. Just because Sony now owns Funimation doesn't mean that Funimation has no autonomy anymore. You know, like they don't make their own decisions.
That's number one. Number two, it doesn't mean that the same people who are making the decisions with regard to censoring these video games are also making decisions in Funimation.
I guarantee you they are different people.
Guaranteed.
Yep. You know, that's the whole. That's the whole
divisions.
That is the entire point of a corporate structure. You delegate responsibility and decisions. You know, that's the point of any social hierarchy. Honestly, you know,
unless this kind of thing is entrenched in Sony's corporate structure at a root level, which I guarantee you it is not, because we'd be. I'll put it this way: a lot of Sony's products and services would be a lot worse than they are right now if that was the case. Everyone would be on my paradigm with Sony if that was the case.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. Also, just side note, I wouldn't recommend buying a PS4 right now because PS5 is confirmed to at least be backwards compatible with PS4. So definitely, I would recommend waiting for PS5.
Yeah, unless you're trying to play a joke on your friend who's a Twitch streamer and shoot him down in Ace Combat when he doesn't think you have the game or the console, don't buy a PS4.
Yeah, I would recommend waiting. It may or may not be compatible with all previous PlayStations, which, by the way, if it is, that's like probably the biggest pro-consumer thing Sony's done in a while.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That would be really cool. But even if it's not, it is confirmed to be with everything PS4. So if you're gonna get a PS4, I'd recommend just waiting at this point because you could be getting a lot more.
Duly noted.
I was talking to Cube. Unlike you, Cube has money occasionally.
Ouch. Damn.
Where's the lie, though?
Getting the deep cuts in today. Damn.
Sorry, I've had a long day. I'm very tired. I got up at 8:30 in the morning. I got up at 8:30 in the morning because my mom took my brother and me to the Sprint store to get to upgrade our phones. And she's like, "Oh, I want to beat the lunch crowd." And we get there at like 11, and there's nobody else there. And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah. You know what? It just makes sense because it's what everyone's doing during their lunch hour. You know what? I got to go away from my workplace. I got to go out and get lunch. I got to buy like 2 or 3 new phones. It's just what they do.
Yeah, like I was really mad at myself because I came up with this counter argument after the conversation where I was like, wait a second, who the fuck is going to want to deal with upgrading their phone plan during their lunch break? Who does that?
Not really thinking that one through, huh?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking mention that to her. And I'm like, oh, it's goddamn, it's like 2 hours later. It's gonna be really pathetic if I come back with this counter argument now. So that's the worst feeling ever. You know what else doesn't make sense to me? The fucking in airports they sell like phones in vending machines. What the fuck is that about?
What the fuck is that about?
I don't know what that's about. Is that like? Is that?
If you gave me like 15 minutes to think, I could probably come up with a good reason, but I'm not gonna bother.
Oh yeah, we have a guy who actually runs a business here.
I'm just like, what world do the 1% live in, where like they like lose a phone in a bar or something, and they're like, well, time to get a new iPhone from the vending machine.
Well,
before my connecting flight,
Well, if you're traveling internationally.
Mm-hmm.
You're like there's some countries where you're able to just buy a SIM card when you arrive and then put it in a phone.
Yeah.
So I would assume that would be one reason. That's one reason I can think of really quickly, and I'm not going to think of any more.
That doesn't seem like a big enough reason for this to be a business model, though.
I'm with you on that actually, but I can think of that one reason.
Yeah. So that's a weird thing. But anyway, our main topic for this segment is talking about our experiences with Web 2.0. I would say pre-2010. I'd say that's about where the modernization began.
Yeah.
Where all these fucking websites started looking the same. Because, and I'll start, is that I miss the personalized feel of the old internet.
Yeah.
Everything looks the fucking same now. Like, all these fucking social platforms have the same damn layout.
Yeah, like, my main problem with modern internet is everything is just so... I don't know who the hell got it in their mind that minimalism is the design wave of the future, because everything has just been so minimalized that everything looks so goddamn boring now. Web 2.0, hold up, you keep going.
Web 2.0 was the best thing since sliced bread, and bread slicing was really a revolution in food preparation. The Earl of Sandwich...
Not like that, motherfucker.
The Earl of Sandwich...
Okay, stop. Stop. Okay. My point was that Web 2.0, like, a lot of it, like, design elements of Web 2.0 were, like, sure, very gaudy and, kind of weird looking, but, like, it was unique, it was distinct, and, it was arguably visually interesting. But now general design aesthetics for websites and logos and stuff have just been so standardized that, Twitter looks like Facebook, looks like YouTube, looks like Google.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was a bit of that back then. Like, you knew when you were looking at a BB code forum. Like,
yeah, you did.
That's a BB code forum. But, like, they all had a flavor to them. They were all personalized in some way, and like the users made it a personalized experience with their avatars, but not just their avatars, but with like their signatures and their banners and their whatever the fuck they were pimping and their inspirational quotes.
Dude, I had like 2 different forums that I frequented for like the entirety of my Web 2.0 years, and like I would be constantly switching up my my signatures. Like there were people on each of these forums that would actually make you signatures if you gave them some of the assets to do it with. And like they would just throw something together, and I would constantly have them be like, hey, I want to switch up my avatar, I want to add this to it, I want to subtract that to it, I want to have a new character, I want to have a new aesthetic or something. Like I would constantly do that because it gives me a new visual identity that I can call my own.
Yeah, it was also
I really enjoyed that.
It was also a really good advertising platform.
True.
Yeah, but I would make banners for like my original Fiction Press stuff and like put them in my NISA forum banner or signature.
Oh yeah, like I would always see people advertising like their DA stuff, their fanfics or whatever.
Yeah, I miss having a place to do that. Now I have to just pin a tweet and hope people see it. It's like, it's lame.
Pin a tweet, cross your fingers, and hope for the best.
Yep.
Yep. I was like, I signatures in forums. I really miss, and I especially love. I miss forum communities.
I tried to pimp a wolf's cry for you, and that did fuck all.
I mean, don't stop trying, but but I miss old forum community because they felt like communities. Like, yeah, I know you got your Twitter mutuals and whatever, but like it all feels until you take it to another level, until you start a Discord server. join the Discord server. It doesn't feel like it has this impersonal flavoring to it,
Yeah.
Whereas in a post forum, those old days, you could recognize people by their avatars and their signatures, and like you look forward to it, and you look at who was online and what they were browsing and shit like that. That's the other thing. Stalking people used to be way more accepted, and I want that back. Now it's a fucking cyber crime or whatever. I'm like, I just want to see what fucking Rednall is doing on the fucking Nippon Ichi forums. I don't fucking I'm not stalking him. I just want to know what he's talking about.
Me personally, like one of my first major things that I did, like whenever like I didn't really get like full internet access until like the early 2000s, like 2000, like what was it, like 2003, 4, whatever. Oh fucking who cares? But like really early on, one of the first things that I did was I joined a forum called Starring HQ, which was a Star Fox based forum because I was really into Star Fox at the time. And like I stayed there for a good long time because it felt like a really close-knit group. Like everybody kind of knew each other, and certain people didn't like me because I was a dumbass kid on the internet who didn't know any better.
It's okay. Like, it's okay. Some people still don't like you.
That's just going to be a constant throughout the rest of my life, and I have to deal with that. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing. Web 2.0 prepared you for that reality.
This is true. It totally did. But
y'all fucking snowflakes.
Yeah, Nikki McLeod, if you're listening to me, fuck you. No.
Nowadays, you don't like someone, you just fucking block them on Twitter.com. Back in the day, you just had to fucking deal with these assholes.
Jen actually knows who I'm talking about, and they got a kick out of that.
Yep. To be fair.
Sorry, I'll piss off from your podcast now.
Okay.
This is gonna sound really weird because I already deal with a lot of assholes, but I miss having to deal with more assholes in a way. Well, I think it's more like I miss when other people had to deal with it. Because now you just block everyone. You start your block chains and your bullshit like that. Back in the day on like forums, you had to just deal with people.
I was on a Lucky Star forum where I had an arch enemy. I legit had an arch enemy on that forum.
Yeah, I think we've all had our nemesis. and I miss having nemesis. Now it just gets too personal, or like they start doxing you, or like creating blockchains or shit like that. Back in the day, it was more playful. It was just like, oh, here's this guy's shitty opinion again. I can't wait to get into my 12-page long rebuttal as to why everything he believes is a farce.
Yeah, this guy. It was more like just, oh, then there's this asshole rather than what it is now.
There was a part of it that was like, it was 1 or 2 levels removed from real life.
Yeah.
Whereas now with the more social media type stuff, it's trying to be as close to real life as it can be, and that results in some pretty nasty unintended consequences that you didn't get back in the day.
Yeah,
because if you don't like someone on Gaia Online, then probably not going to try and ruin their life.
Yeah. And like, there were always crazy people that did crazy shit, but like, it felt like it wasn't everyone back then,
it was crazy people doing crazy shit, and everyone agreed that was crazy people.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays you're gonna get some people who actually who actually think that those people were right.
Well, there's 2 sides to every like thing. I don't think you're considering both sides enough.
Yeah, there's also 2 sides to my hand. You want to see the backside?
Well, okay. To be fair, it's either you're not considering both sides enough, or we're not going to consider both sides at all. Everything's such a binary now, and I feel like back then it was kind of defined by the moderation. That's the other thing, because we were on like forums with like moderators who were people, that we could talk to and interact with, and who we could know on a personal level. That defined the tone and the culture of whatever community you were a part of. Now that everything's by monolithic corporations that have faceless boards that determine everything, or worse, automated bots, like, you don't get a feel for that anymore. And that means there's no real identity. Like, the identities of today's platforms are very broadly defined. Even shit like Tumblr's reputation is very broad compared to what a notorious forum would have back in the day. And I miss communities, number one, being more niche, but also being more flavored in this way. It felt like a world unto itself, whereas now it feels like it's trying to emulate real life too much, and in the worst ways.
Yeah, the place had kind of every place had its own personality, and if you didn't like the tone or the personality or the culture of a certain place, you just weren't there.
Yeah.
If you thought a place was toxic, you weren't trying to speak out against it. You just weren't there.
Yeah. How the fuck cyberbullying real? You just closed the laptop and walked away. But for real. Well, the thing I hate is that, like, I feel like people are still trying to do that, but they're doing it in platforms that don't support that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
They're still trying to dictate a culture and a tone for the community they want to create, but the platforms don't support that, so we end up with this constantly clashing menagerie of shitty people.
This is exactly what I was getting at when this was a while ago, when I was on the Fuck Andy Twitter rant back on NCR Radio a while ago. This is exactly what I was getting at. The platform is not conducive to the kind of niche discussion that people want to have on it, but people feel kind of forced into that because it's the biggest platform with the most people, and because it's just really hard to and realistically, it's not hard to build a PHPBB forum, but it's going to be difficult to grow that community.
Back in the day, you could find the community for you, and you could decide whether communities weren't for you. Nowadays, communities are for everyone, so we have this problem.
Exactly.
And the thing that sucks the most is that, like, since the internet culture has grown so much, I don't see us going back in the way it used to be. I feel like we go back in small ways with things like, Discord servers and shit like that. But like, it's not quite the same, Like, one of the reasons I use Reddit so much is because I like the subreddit system, because you can find very specific niches that way.
Yeah.
And very specific people. But there is still that impersonal nature to it, because it's like, partially just because of the way it's displayed. Like, nobody has avatars, nobody has signatures, there's usernames, but it's like, nobody fucking pays attention to those.
Exactly.
You can a lot of people don't know this. You can follow people on Reddit, but nobody does. So like, I do like that aspect of Reddit, where you can still find niche subcultures and communities that are active in their own circles. That's something I miss from Web 2.0, but it doesn't have that, for the most part, unless you really try to make it so. It doesn't have that community feel. And a big problem on Reddit is that subreddits eventually reach that point. A lot of subreddits eventually reach that point where they do try to be for everyone, and we end up with these clashing ideals and stuff.
Yeah.
I think what was really important about the way the internet used to work is that it acknowledged that not everyone is going to get along, so we kind of need to segregate ourselves to an extent in these subcultures and communities. Trying to fit every user into the same boxes doesn't really work. I don't know why that's a virtue people want. I don't know if it's idealism or if it just benefits the corporations. It's probably the latter, but I don't know.
It certainly benefits the corporations in that the more people are on their platform, the more advertising revenue they can bring in, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But by the same token, as more people gravitate there, people just want it to be easy to interact.
Yeah.
Which I can understand, but at the same time, that leads to a lot of harmful unintended consequences when groups that would fundamentally never interact with one another start to interact violently, and it creates things where you see like Japanese artists drawing anime girls, and they're getting called out by people who in any other context would never interact with artists drawing that kind of stuff. They're getting called out for some heinous stuff that it's not what they're doing, but because we have this interaction, that's what's gonna go down.
Yeah. It's like, back in the day, like, forum communities used to like raid each other, but like those were events. They weren't like everyday interactions.
Yeah.
It feels like all the shitty aspects of the internet that are so prevalent now used to be very, not rare, but more sporadic and more concentrated and easier to deal with.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a good system going, and then the corporations got involved, and because of the way their motives work, it drastically changed the culture. Well,
it's like if you go down on that, by that same token, going back to even elements like the visual design and the user interface, all that's just been optimized to death. To where, because they've run studies and focus groups and and they have so many engineers working on this UI and this UX, it all ends up looking the same throughout Twitter, throughout Facebook, throughout all these platforms, just because they basically said, okay, this is like empirically the best possible layout that we can have for what we're trying to accomplish. Whereas back in the day with these old forum communities, even if you look at PHPBB forums, which are all functionally the same, there were a plethora of different like themes and layouts for each forum that had its own visual style.
Yeah. You know, when something's for everyone, there's nothing for me. So yeah, it's kind of the same. It's happening in so many spheres. Like, the art of film scoring has kind of been diminished a lot because there's science to back up like this kind of sampling that goes on, where like, oh, these things have been proven successful, so we emulate these. That's why like all movie trailers are kind of cut the same and sound the same. Yeah. Because the data shows that it's effective, and that might change over time, but there's always going to be like the most effective thing, you know. Same with like poster design.
Poster design in particular has been extremely homogenized over time.
Yeah. So, you know, just in general, these are aspects, and like, to acknowledge something earlier I said, like, I understand that even from the beginning there are corporate aspects to the web, you know, like a lot of these forums we're talking about were run by companies, you know. Yeah. But like that, they still had all of these individual flares and community presences that we've been talking about, you know. It didn't like actively detract from it, because they were all different companies and they all had different values, and they all, you know, were promoting different things that drew in different people, that created different subcultures. But since now we're playing with the big boys and they're big platformers where everyone's allowed, well, unless users throw enough of a stink, I guess, but like, for the most part, ideally, according to them, everyone's allowed, we get these kinds of homogenized experiences that, I mean, you can still enjoy, but they aren't what they used to be.
And so part of it is the profit motive.
Yeah.
Part of it is the homogenization of the profit motive. Because even if you go back in the day, each and every one of these little forum communities had its own way of making money that wasn't just targeted, optimized advertising.
Yeah.
Where companies buy just generic ad space, and these platforms will show ads to people who have proven through their habits to be conducive to advertising from this company or that company.
Yeah.
Which is really the problem. Like, so you got the whole thing with YouTube and its advertising. And you see a lot of YouTubers trying to sanitize their content to try and optimize their ad revenue.
Yeah. Oh boy, the period of time after everyone had the equipment and the ability to make good content, but before the monetization rolled in, that was the golden era of YouTube, honestly.
God.
This is another thing I've been saying for a while. YouTube allowing content creators to get their ad revenue off of their videos was a gigantic mistake, and they're still paying for it.
I don't know.
That entire infrastructure was a mistake.
I mean, to be fair, the whole point is that they're paying for it. Waka waka.
Well, really, the whole point is that they're supposed to be getting paid off of it. YouTube is supposed to be getting paid off of it, but they're still reeling from the fact that they made the mistake of giving a profit motive to individuals via their platform.
Yeah. I don't know if they would see it as a mistake.
I don't think they see it as a mistake, but if you look at all the various changes and controversies that have surrounded YouTube basically since they started giving people residuals of their ad revenue.
Yeah.
It all points to the fact that people now know that if they're if they can make videos that get a whole lot of views consistently, that they can make money. So now you've got shady companies making a whole bunch of cheap content that's questionable, but is algorithmically pretty much guaranteed to get a lot of views to get that money. You got a whole lot of people. It all stems back to people trying to min-max the system to maximize the amount of money they can get from YouTube. So if YouTube had never instituted that system, none of this would have happened.
Well, the other thing is that it's not so much about view counts anymore as it is about retention. And that more than view counts, I think, drastically affected how the content itself is structured.
Yeah.
And what kind of content can thrive on the platform. That's why animation on YouTube died, is because it doesn't.
I was about to say, like, animation on YouTube is, very different now compared to what it was.
Yeah, because it has such a long production cycle, and it doesn't have the kind of longevity and retention that other more easily produced forms of content can have.
The animation... sorry, my voice cracked. Wow.
The animation
that thrives on YouTube space now is more so the personalized story time style of animation. Stuff like The Odd Ones Out and Jaded Animations, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of both of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very different from the
I'm gonna
more specialized animation that was more common.
I'm gonna be honest.
YouTube.
I don't even like see it as animation so much as I see it as like vlogging with an animated persona.
Yeah, that kind of is what it is to a point. Yeah.
It's like,
it's a way for a form of animation to exist on YouTube, but animation is not really the front and center of the storytelling.
Go ahead.
I don't feel like they make that content because, I'm an animator and I want to make animated content. I feel like they make that content because I want to be on YouTube and talk about things, and this is how I can stand out.
Right. And that kind of gets to the point I was going for, was all of this can exist on YouTube. Not all of it can make money on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, that being the focus is kind of part of the problem with why we can't just go back to these old paradigms. Is so much of anything anyone does online, it has a profit motive that I feel like if anyone tries to do anyone trying to do any kind of en masse going back to like the PHP-BB paradigm would have to be someone who's just able to do that and not make any money off of it. Have no hope of them making any money off of it.
I probably should have mentioned this in the last episode, but a lot of my favorite channels now, they may or may not be monetized, but like all of their main income comes from Patreon, which gives them a lot more freedom to do what they want. Those are honestly my favorite channels these days.
I've been saying for a long time that in terms of making the most authentic, honest content, getting paid off of YouTube ad revenue is literally on the tier lower than making your content and not having any hope of getting any money out at all.
Yeah,
because you're beholden to that system and that's part of the problem with some of these big platforms, is they're beholden to a system that they created because their entire existence is based off of being able to serve people advertising. Which is a dying industry.
Another advertising is a dying industry.
Serving people advertising. When was the last time you clicked on a Twitter ad? My point exactly.
That's a good point.
Like
okay,
really?
okay. Anubis though. The last time I clicked on a Twitter ad is not the same as the last time Joe Deere clicked on a Twitter ad. when you make a claim like not animation, advertising is dying, I'm like, there's a lot of idiots out there though that like do click these things and like they do, they when they get called up and it's like you just want a free cruise to the Bahamas and like they take it seriously. There are people like that. There have to be, or this shit wouldn't be done.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is that it's the old adage of a new idiot's bored in every minute. So, there's always new people coming in that'll fall for this bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, serving people advertisements through their social media feed well, don't get me wrong, it's certainly more effective than old school banner ads or TV ads or billboards.
Yeah.
But just in general, people don't like advertising. People don't like, guarantee you the majority of people who see Twitter ads only see them because they're on mobile and their mobile client doesn't have an ad blocker on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, can confirm.
Yeah.
Speaking of forced ads, has anyone else seen on YouTube that one like Hispanic girl that like keeps buying ads for her videos?
I have not seen an ad on YouTube in several months.
Well, but like she like it's always like a promoted video, and they'll be like, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, but I mean, they never really stopped selling snake oil. They just kind of said they stopped.
Well, it's so like to be fair to the marketers and the advertisers, there are people out here doing it right, but at the same time, it's always going to be kind of an arms race between the advertising industry and the consumers who largely don't appreciate their time and space being wasted by these ads.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, people have hated ads since before the radio, and yet here they still are.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying it's an arms race. There's always it's always gonna be there, but how much longer a lot of these platforms are gonna have their primary profit motive be, we need to be able to sell ad space to these companies.
So rather than saying
like Facebook's starting to pull away from from selling ad space as their primary income. Facebook's starting to pull away from that. Twitter,
they moved on to selling our data instead.
You might be joking, but you're actually kind of correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're also doing stuff with their cryptocurrency and whatnot. But my point is that the days of especially these big social media platforms selling ads as their primary income they're numbered, because
so like instead of saying advertising is dying, what you're saying is there's a bubble and it's going to burst at some point. No,
I'm not even saying I don't even really think there's a bubble. Right. I'm just saying that the days of that, like, when was the last time you saw banner ads at scale?
Well, like
those used to be huge, and you don't see those around very often.
Well, I guess my point is it's always going to be something.
It's always going to be something. Definitely.
So saying advertising is dying is just a weird sentence to me.
On those platforms, its days are numbered. As the primary, its days are numbered.
But it will rise once again, like the phoenix.
You'll find it somewhere else. It'll go somewhere else where more eyeballs are, because it'll gradually get more expensive to run ads on these platforms, because there won't be as many people running ads on the platform.
Wouldn't that make it less expensive?
It would make it...
I would say it would make it less expensive, but less fruitful. I'd imagine it'd be very cheap, but not very effective.
I think I might have confused myself. I don't know.
Yeah, let's
The coughing was perfect.
What?
Thanks, Jen. There was like dead silence, and you just coughed at the perfect time.
What's really going to happen is it's going to get more expensive in the way that it'll stay the same price but be less effective. So to reach the same number of people, you're going to have to spend more money.
You don't think the price will decrease as it becomes less valuable on the platform?
No, I don't think so. There's no reason for it to decrease.
I mean, I've been led to believe that's how economics works. But I guess we're in a new age, as it were.
And advertising on these platforms is already really cheap as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw someone. I had some like friggin' 2 months ago or something. Someone actually paid ad space to run the frickin' Rick Astley "Never Gonna Give You Up" YouTube video.
Yep.
Like someone legitimately just had ad space to rickroll people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
I believe it.
It's the best use of it.
That's a fact.
Yep. There was a guy recently who was like buying 15-minute ads that could be skipped instantly, and like there was nothing he was selling. It was just like, I bought this ad space so you can just enjoy your fucking video.
That guy's a hero.
I love that.
What is the deal with those ads that are like 3 hours long, but you can skip them after 15 seconds or whatever? It's like, who's gonna sit through that?
I feel like that's more probably the novelty of the thing. Like the audacity of someone buying a 3-hour-long ad is gonna make you curious about what they're trying to sell you.
But is it gonna make you watch this for 3 hours curious?
The entire point is, the point isn't to watch it for 3 hours. The point is, oh, hey, okay, maybe I'll click through and see what this guy's selling, because hell no, I'm not going to watch this 3-hour-long video.
Oh,
But this dude does have a 3-hour-long video, so I might as well see what it's selling. That's what I assume the rationale is.
I wonder how successful that is. Remember in promotion for the second part, Warner Brothers made the entire Lego Movie a YouTube ad.
I remember that, yeah. And they just made it, and then they also made the movie free to watch on YouTube for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a little bit more convenient than just randomly hoping you get the entire Lego Movie as an ad.
I think I did it at least one time.
I did. Yep. You haven't lived until you've watched the entire Lego Movie as a YouTube ad. Yeah. So, I guess in summation, things used to be better, and now we live in a dystopia, and things are not as good.
I mean, I was going to just mention Sprite comics, but this was much more interesting.
That's true. That's true. I do miss Sprite comics. I miss. I miss web comics.
Yeah.
I mean, they still exist, but like, I feel like they used to be bigger.
Remember when VG Cats updated?
Yeah. That's over now. He's like definitively canceled that.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah, he did that that was like last year.
Wow.
Didn't even make a big deal of it. Just fucking I'm not making this anymore.
Shows what I'm up to date on.
I don't understand Scott Ransomere, to be honest.
Me neither. Does anybody?
He had this insanely popular thing that after a while he's just like, I might throw one of these out every 6 months. Like, especially like in the modern age of monetization, so I'm like, what was his strategy here? What is he doing? I know he went to cons a lot. He sold a lot of t-shirts and shit, but like, was he sustained on that without actually updating his webcom? It's so weird to me.
Yeah, I really don't know what Scott was thinking with that, but yeah, I mean,
his avatar is a man with pants on his head. So what are you gonna do?
Pants man.
Pants man. Speaking of Scott Rampsmere, that's another thing I miss is just the irreverence of Web 2.0.
Oh God,
Where
yeah.
people got offended at his abortion joke, so he made a comic where it was like introducing the fetus 5, and just like just 5 fetuses just on a stage.
Just push it even further, dude. I love it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some kind of social health argument you can make against the irreverence of Web 2.0, and I'm sure there's a lot of valid arguments and criticisms about it endorsing, hostile worldviews and the like, but I missed fucking abortion jokes. So your argument is invalid.
There's a rare sentence.
I miss abortion jokes. Your argument is invalid. Hold on, that's the title.
Perfect.
I was almost scared we wouldn't come up with one.
Don't worry. This episode is a lot better than it sounds.
I mean, they're this far in, so...
It's true.
Look, people know what we're about. We're not about that monetization life. We couldn't if we wanted to. So we just brazenly don't. Yep. Quick, let's try to make this video as unmonetizable as possible. Abortion. Terrorism. I think people should maybe actually have guns. Hey guys, remember 9/11? That sure was a date. And now that we've just tanked my channel just forever.
Fuck, dude.
Rude. Very rude. How irreverent of you to interrupt me with your bile. But yeah, I think unless you had something else to add, I think that's about it.
Nah, I'm good.
Well set.
Alright. This has been the Baka Gaijin show. You can... you don't even have to pimp yourselves. I'm just gonna throw all our shit at the end slide anyway. I have a space for guests where I can do that.
Excellent.
Twitter and whatnot. But you should check out our Twitters. Check out Yashike, right?
Yashike.moe.
Yeah. Do you not update your own site anymore? Is everything on Yashike now?
Basically everything is on Yashike. I keep sheslostcontrol.net around because all the old articles are there and I still link to them. And there's also a page there that just has all the stuff that I do.
Right. Right, but new stuff's on yashike.moe.
New stuff is on yashike.moe.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe. Join the Discord in the link below. And we will see you on the next Baka Gaijin show, which what's the next one? Are we doing Joker and Brightburn next?
No, I thought that next was going to be Dr. Stone.
No, I think the Joker one was before Dr. Stone. We can do Dr. Stone first if you want.
Yeah, probably do Dr. Stone and then Joker.
I'd have to remake an entire thumbnail because I numbered it wrong then.
Okay, you can if you want to do Joker and Brightburn next, that's fine. We'll do that.
All right.
To be fair, it's just 2 movies I gotta watch. So
yeah. So you heard it here, folks. Go watch Joker and fucking Brightburn because that's what we're discussing next time on the Baka Gaijin show. Zeke freak out. Ciao for now.